Okay, let's see. Any echo? Any issues? Anything going wrong? Switch that over real quick. Should be better. Get rid of that. And we should be loud, proud, and in charge. Or loud, proud, and out in the cloud. I don't know what the fuck you want to say. Let's see. Yeah, looks like we're up and going. Oh, hopefully everybody had a good New Year. Strange putting back on the headset and talking to a microphone again, but all good, all good. Take a look at what we're gonna work on tonight. I'm just getting everything together, and then I actually have another thing. It looks like I'm going into bigger builds come 2025. Oh God. Get my damn hoodie off. I had to run the dog out. He had to pee before we got started. Throw that aside. Hopefully everybody had a good New Year. Good Christmas. I think we talked about Christmas last time. I just got done smoking one of my pipes. I've definitely learned that smoking a pipe is more of a chill and an experience than smoking a cigarette. Cigarettes might have been an experience at one point, but yeah, I think the pipe is different. Let's fade in, look at what we're working on, and before I even get too deep, let's go to live chatting. This way, everything you guys want to say comes out. But yeah, I'm thinking 2025. We're gonna go. We're gonna go a little bit bigger. And what I mean by that is, I think I've shown off the toga. That's multiple piece. That's got to get assembled, painted. Well, actually, it's got to get primed, painted, then assembled, and then I got to ship that off to my buddy David Mon over in England. I have that Venom that I blew up, broke apart, and that one's got to get assembled. Well, that's got to get primed. Everything else, but I think, I mean, tonight's we're gonna be doing this little freak here. I'll go through it, what it is, everything else. Qalupalik, I want to say it's called something like that. It's an Inuit monster or cryptid, and I don't know if you guys can see that face real well. I don't know. I have to mess with it. She's actually going to have to get glued onto the stand. I should have made the stand a little deeper when I made her and adjusted a stand for her. But yeah, I figure I'll just a little tacking glue on the bottom of it. We'll glue her right on her stand. So she isn't going to stand up on her own. And then this guy here, Badtz Maru, he should take like maybe 20 seconds to do. I can go into the backstory of him. He's basically a Hello Kitty character. Figure I'd do this one. He's going to get a white here. It's going to get yellow here, white in the eyes. Very, very simple. That one's going to be a quick one. I think the actual bigger one though is this. So a while ago, I printed him out. He's actually one of the first prints I ever did on my Mars 3 printer. This cool little Iron Man figure. See if I can fuck with the camera a little bit. What's up, Forever? How are you, man? Happy New Year's. Let's see, camera. bigger video. No, I don't want to do it in there. Let's cancel out of that. Let me go to my other video. And it's not going to wait. It might let me do image adjustments. Turn on the autofocus. See what it does. See if it fixes. No. No. Unfortunately not. I think my manual focus is much better. But yeah, so he was actually one of the first things I printed when I got my Mars 3. And he had a lot of detail to him. I thought he was a very cool character. And he also came with these extra files. Now the thing is, this base, oh my god, it's going to be a headache to do. I'm legit, just to make it fit in the printer, I'm going to have to crack it into eighths. Like I have to slice it up like it's a pizza, and then, because I mean the base on this thing, as you can see, here is the original. Let me show you what I printed, what I'm going to work on. Here we have, let's see if I can't put these parts in right. I've already trimmed down the joints on it a little bit here and there. The only thing I didn't do was the one arm. Still has to get done. Like, he's got one arm that goes up in the air, and I haven't done that one yet. Let's see. So, you got your classic Marvel landing pose, I think is what it's called. But the arms and everything else have to get trimmed down a bit. But yeah, just to give you an idea of what we're looking at here when I say we're going to start going bigger for 2025. Oh, I don't think the legs are going to hold up until they're glued in. But that isn't going to be done until after he's painted. Rotate that arm back. See if I can't get it to just stick for now, just to give you guys an idea. Like I said, things are going to have to get trimmed and fitted and everything else with them. But yeah, to give you an idea of the scope or difference in scope, these are the same things, which means that the base is going to be about this big around him. So we're going from this little guy to that size figure. Like I said, I think it's time we go a little bit bigger with everything. Really laying some statues. I mean, if you're looking at the detail on just like the arm, very, very detailed. This right here, like I said, I'm going to have to bevel this down, use a razor shave it down, and then go in there with like maybe even a Dremel and trim it up, clean it up, make it look nice. But yeah, everything on him. Let's go back, zoom back into the actual desk. Everything on him super detailed. Very very tight line work. I don't know who actually did it. The face and everything else. Good old shell head here. Anybody who's read Iron Man enough knows what I mean by shell head. Like in here, yes, that's white or what have you, but that's just over drying of wet resin. All the skirts, his leg, the other leg. I said very detailed right down to the feet. But the base is going to be huge on it. When we're looking at the actual mini scale model, looking at how big it is for the character, like especially back here. But I do like the ground punch, like we're shattering the ground. So thinking of black, and then we'll go into it and tar that out. We'll see how that looks. I think it could be very cool. Very, very cool. But yeah, I mean, all the detailing that is on the little one is on the much bigger one. And we're definitely going to be able to explore that. Of course, he's going to get the hot rod colors of gold and red. Going blue there, blue in the eyes, or what have you. But this is definitely going to be a project for another day. And like I said, once you're got it in there a little bit deeper, it should just set right. So we're definitely looking at an epic Iron Man. And I can always tell which leg's which, not just by the bend in them, but also because this back leg, the way it lines up, you can see there's a little cutout here. So when it actually seats in right, it's almost hinged. But I do think that, like this model, between this one being put together and printing out, I think 2 of the base works for him. So the base is going to be the bitch on him. Same thing with this Venom model. This is in there, and that's nice. It's a nice snug fit, but it's got to get trimmed down, beveled out. Going in here, I mean, I can already see. Let me grab a pair of tweezers, get them out of there, but I can see I have break-free supports that are actually in the middle of him that need to come out. Like this corner is still a little wet, believe it or not. Even though it's sat here on the desk for all this time. Just because there's no UV light reaching in this room, so yeah, I mean, it's snug, but I can cut probably about 3 millimeters off this locking joint here and trim it down on each side. And once I get it down on each side, it's going to seat in there perfect. And I'll actually be able to use maybe like a Gorilla Glue. But make sure that sucker is conjoined and beautiful. But yeah, we have the Venom to do as well. And I mean, here's, once again, like I said, we're going big instead of going home. So here you go. Here's your little guy. There's the bigger version. And I noticed he's missing his top teeth like I am. And those are actually in a box. I just got to glue them in. But in order to get the reds in there and everything else for the mouth, it's going to be easier to leave those teeth in till the very end when I go into the whites. All the veins up them, everything. I think that this is going to be a great model. And then, of course, we have the what's her name? Toga from my buddy David, where I redid the face and the hair the other day, just because the original hair, like, it looks decent and everything else now. It's all nice and smooth. But if I go back, let me see. I should have the original just chilling here. So looking at that face or what have you. But here's the original hair. And I'm sure you guys can see this pock marking in the actual folds of the hair versus the newer print. And part of the problem, like, and I did it with her head too, because she had pock marking all in the back. But I redid her on purpose. This one doesn't have as much of the blowout from the drying process as this one. So you've got that extra white in there. However, if you look, you can clearly see the differences in the hair quality, especially on the back of the hair too. So I fixed that. like another like 40 minutes of printing or whatever. Not a big deal. But this way I can give David a good looking model. Appreciate you guys liking, subscribing, and sharing and everything else. It really does help me out. Glad you guys are here. Yeah, so 2024 was an interesting year. There was some good stuff. There's some definite shit stuff. You know, let me get the rocket fuel in me, wake up a little bit. Definitely a quiet year. So we go with I think tonight we're going to start with this easy one. And I mean, I have minor topics to talk about. Especially the tinfoil hat wearing people had me laughing my ass off last night. And the ones that go extra hard on Alex Jones, like he is the Messiah or something. Getting to that. Laughing about a dude who a week ago, called into the ABL show that I watched. Shout out to ABL. And there's a whole bit with him that I got to go through because it's just fucking ridiculous. Secret Jew tunnels? Are you talking about that shit in New York where it was underneath like a oh god, what are it, a synagogue or something like that? And the one Jewish dude just popped up out of nowhere? Is that what you're talking about, Forever? Like, I thought that was some crazy shit, and yeah, no, it turned out it was true. They actually did in the middle of New York. Like, dude popped up on the street, and they like chased him back in. It was like, what the fuck? You guys aren't making this shit up? Oh, wow, that was 1 year ago. Yeah, that was insane. Well, here's a question. 2024 wasn't all bad, including in like TV and movies and stuff. So I was thinking about it and I was like, what was probably the best thing I saw in 2024? Now, granted, there was a lot of bad, right? But I think probably the best shows that I watched, one was Bittersweet because What We Do in the Shadows finally ended. And they gave it a great ending, in my opinion. Like, I think the last season of the show went out kind of like how the first season of the show came in, and it was good. But honestly, I think my favorite show last year had to be a show that was on FX. I think it was FX. It was called Shogun. And like they killed it on that show. Just killed it. It was fantastic. Let's see. We are going to do Badtz Maru, who is a Hello Kitty character first. Let me get a painting guide up so I can see what I'm working with. Pretty damn simple. Just white, yellow. She can spray lacquer it, and I'm done. So, easy one. Just get a little white out and get the paint. Hopefully this one goes quick as shit, and isn't that all that, like, oh god, it's so difficult. Every time I say that, though, I end up till 5 in the morning, like, fucking painting something. So I gotta be careful when I say shit like that. But yeah, I forgot all about that damn them going through the tunnels. I still think story of the year, picture of the year has got to be the fight with Trump. I like that. That shit's just iconic, and it's just gonna grow as time does. I think that's one of those like Kennedy getting assassinated, or you know, the guys holding up the American flag. shit like that. Like there's just something so iconic about the angle they got it at, the blood streaming down his face, the whole 9 yards. You know, I think that was crazy. We saw all kind of like politics in general this year was fucking just nuts. Like we knew 2024 the election was going to be redonkulous, and it was crazier than I thought it was going to be. A lot crazier. I'm going to have to go in here, maybe get a little water going and just smooth everything out. This one's, like I said, this one's a quick one. I hate painting on black with white though. So many damn layers you got to put up to get it where it looks good. But yeah, I'm gonna say iconic photo was the whole Trump fight. Like, and I think that's gonna endure for years. Uh, I do think that losers this year were people that believe in the Great Reset. That that has been proved beyond a shadow of a doubt to just be total bullshit. Because if the Great Reset were real, right, and they really were going to reset everything, all this and globalism, the whole 9 yards, then one, they would have gotten a more competent assassin for Trump, and they never would have let him take the White House again. They never would have let him onto the ballot. They would have blocked everything and done everything to control it. I think all we've done is expose that there is a lot of elitism, and our government has become more like I want to say like an oligarchy, but that's not the right term. It's more fascistic. I think anybody, like the Great Reset had a little bit of teeth to it, and then just too many things just made it bullshit. Like total bullshit. Because you'd have to control every aspect. There could be no wild card. There could be no chaos. Everything would have to be completely orderly, except for chaos you're introducing. And unfortunately, well, fortunately, it's not the case because some of this chaos is just impossible. It's impossible to predict, control anything else unless you're directing it. Which part of what bothers me on the New Year's Eve attacks, everybody's got a tinfoil hat on. Some people are like, oh, well, it's a Muslim. Da, da, da. Like when I first heard the story, it was dude was a Muslim, and I think even Trump put out something like we need to close the border and all this stuff. No, that shit was an American. Was he radicalized? Yeah, probably. He was also ex-military. Do I think there could be some coordination between what happened in Louisiana and, you know, I feel bad for anybody that was hurt or killed or anything else on New Year's Eve. Was it preventable? I don't think so. I honestly don't think I can even go and say, oh, the FBI should have, because that would mean that they're spying on American citizens 110%. Do I think it was orchestrated by the FBI? I do not. I think this caught everybody off guard. Same thing with the Las Vegas one. They were both Army. So now the big thing is, what's the connection between them besides the Army? You know, where is their manifestos? Where is somebody coming out and saying, this is why it was done? You know what I mean? If there's normally a terrorist attack like 9/11, you had people jumping through hoops, different countries and shit jumping through hoops going, yeah, it was us who did the attack. People always want to take credit, especially when the attack is successful. This wasn't stalled out, this wasn't failed, nothing. I don't blame actually anyone for this attack, because at this point, there's not enough information to blame anybody. Is it two guys that are like, yeah, we need to wake people up to what? Climate change? To what? They weren't waving any flags. Okay, they were ISIS sympathizers. That's one of those narratives. Yeah, he was on our radar. Everybody's on their radar, right? Because they don't want to look stupid, incompetent, or like they're not doing their fucking jobs. But fact of the matter is, why would that guy be on anybody's radar? I mean, you're talking, he's ex-army. He was like, what, an insurance salesman or some shit, or a real estate agent, or like, and then the second one, the one in Las Vegas, is the one that has me a little like, what the fuck? Because, okay, Muslim name, everything else, people automatically assume Muslim attack, blah, 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 supporter ISIS. Other dude was a white guy who they said they found a bullet wound in his skull, which probably occurred slightly before the explosion. So that means that he deleted himself in the car and then set off, had like the explosion trigger maybe 10 seconds later, 20 seconds later, right? Thank you, Sheree. I appreciate the hell out of you. Best goddamn mod on the internets. Yeah, please stay safe while driving, Sheree. That's what Forever just put in. Yeah, please stay safe while you're driving. You know what I mean? I mean, make it home. Be safe. I'd much rather you're safe than listening to me, because yeah, it is what it is. Um, but yeah, like you're looking at the dude in Las Vegas. If he deleted himself and everything else, where are the manifestos? Where is somebody taking? We're the Brotherhood of the American Muslims down here in Texas, and we decided that it was time to wake America up to what's going on. None of that shit. We've got none of that stuff. Nothing coming out. And the internet's a big place. So all it would take is one person to post something. And because that's like your top news story, because ain't shit else happening right now, it's New Year's. So why, like it would dominate. You do stuff like this when you want attention to a cause, to, I mean, like say they did all this to bring attention to homeless vets. Something like this, right? It's going to be out there, and it's not. Um it just doesn't make sense. Now, I was thinking about this too, with the drones. So you had all those drones up in New Jersey flying around and everything else, and they were looking for something or what have you. Now, I had heard reports that, and I don't ask me where because I watched too much fucking dumb shit to memorize it. But last year, apparently, there were drones like that everywhere. And it got me to thinking, what's there in New Jersey? Well, you got ports, all this kind of stuff. And if you wanted to attack New York, you would probably build up in like southern New Jersey out in the country, bumblefuck countryside, and then export whatever up to New York, right? Wouldn't be hard. I'm wondering if it happens every year at that time, that December time frame, because we're going into New Year's Eve, and New Year's Eve in New York is one of the biggest things in the world. Like if you were gonna do an attack on America and you wanted to inflict the most casualties and biggest fear in everybody, you would detonate that shit as the ball drops on a New Year's. It would freak people out. You would destabilize your safety, community, the whole 9 yards. So I'm thinking that the reason why we see all these drones or what have you, they're making sure that nothing comes in. I think they are ours, and they're just lying to us because they don't want people to think that, hey, there's a possible credible attack for New Year's. You would cause way, way more panic. And it would be like, oh, well, we're hiding it. Like, we got to hide this from the American people. It makes sense to me for some reason. Like, that would be, like, it does. It just, for some reason, it just rings kind of true. But, there's so many damn conspiracy theorists and tinfoil hat wearing motherfuckers in this world that, it's nuclear material, there's a dirty bomb, and all this kind of shit. And it's possible. That's not an improbability. Like, it's not an impossibility is the way I guess I should say that. It's not impossible that that's what's going on. I just think that, I don't know, something doesn't feel right with it. Like, if there was an actual nuke threat, I think people would be able to, I think our government would leak. I think somebody in the government would be like, yo, honey, pack the kids, get the fuck out of New Jersey. You know what I mean? And that's not happening. We're not seeing, like, all of a sudden, like, oh, look, everybody at this one military base is all of a sudden evacuating because you tell one person, they're going to tell somebody else, and and it's just going to pass on and on. So I think that as much as I would like to say that's correct, probably not. It could be just them testing to see if their drones can suss something out, like they hide nuclear material somewhere. Government actually has control over the nuclear material, and they're doing that shit on purpose. But I also think, people are all freaking out because they're like, oh, the drones, you don't understand. They're going to the ocean and they're going underwater and all this kind of stuff. Okay, say we have a sub off the coastline and it's just training to see if our drones will launch from the sub, go into the air, do their job, and return to the sub. So this way, if we do go somewhere like, I don't know, to protect, like Taiwan, we'll say, and we park a sub out there, launch the drones go and find out where the Chinese are, all that stuff, come back, and, we've got intel, portable intel. But they have to test those systems out, and they can't just do it like randomly. They can't do it somewhere where you can't find it. But I really do think now it's more to prevent, like, it's preventionist. I don't think it's malicious or anything else. I just think people just finally started looking up and realizing, like, hey, this shit's going on, and I thought they were airplanes this whole time. Which brings me to one of the things that made me almost piss my pants laughing last night, which was there was a huge discussion in the ABL chat about about chemtrails. And not gonna lie, there was one other dude in that chat, and, like, I had to be the dick about things. Like, I just did. And God bless Sheree for not just booting me the fuck out because she had to know I was just breaking balls. But Sheree is actually the greatest mods on these internets. And I say that because not only is she my mod, and so I'm a little biased there, but she was an ABL mod way before that, and she does a phenomenal job. And she could have just booted me the fuck out of the chat last night because I was breaking so many damn balls with it. But yeah, chemtrails. So they're like, yeah, planes fly over and there's chemtrails and all this. Okay, that's what happens. It's what's known as condensation. So the best way to describe it is if it's cold outside and you get into your car. Now, granted, there's chemicals coming off the back of that engine, I'm sure, in the exhaust. That's just, hey, we're burning something to go through it, so some shit's going to come out the back, right? So take your car, for example, in cold weather, turn it on. Do you see that little puff of white come out of the back of the car? Now imagine it being so high up in the atmosphere where the water particles are actually frozen and they're capturing that little bit of fog in them. That's basically what you're seeing. It's condensation, right? But these people were arguing last night about like chemtrails and like our government's basically poisoning us and shit like that, like crazy fucked up shit. And then somebody would correct them and say something else about the chemtrails, like, yeah, that's called condensation, or, you know, like I said, it's science. And then somebody comes back like, no, that's not what I'm talking about. Well, what are you talking about? A crop duster? There's a reason why a crop duster doesn't fly all the way up fucking like 10,000 feet in the air and start crop dusting. They come in low and spread it across the ground because it's going to disperse in the air far and wide. So it doesn't matter how often you do it. You're just basically like diluting whatever payload you're dropping. Otherwise, they would just fly up there, you know, every day and dump like chemicals. Doesn't work. It disperses in the atmosphere. You parts per million, I think, is the way it's described, or, you know, particles per million or some shit like this. And it's breaking down. So the chemtrail whole thing is just fucking kind of crazy bullshit. But what had me dead ass laughing, besides people arguing about that, the one dude said something about, yep, and I guess you believe in flat earth too. And the person that's arguing turns around and goes, no, I'm talking about facts and science, not made up shit. And we're like, yo, like, you're denying all science by what you're saying, you fucking retard. Like, and we're just dead laughing. And then, of course, somebody had to bring up, you know, Alex Jones said that the chemtrails are this. And so I just looked around and there's this old Dane Cook joke. Yeah, there you go. You could see the heat with the VR headset. That's awesome. Yeah. Very simple, right? There you go. Simple experiment. But yeah, I fucking, so I had to. There's this old Dane Cook joke about taking it. He's like, what you do is you sneak in at like a fancy place where they have a coat check. You sneak back into that coat check room and you throw all the coats on the floor and then you take a shit in the middle of the coats. And he's like, and then your next objective is this. Everybody's out having a good time. And then somebody realizes that somebody took a shit in the middle of all the coats. And they're all talking, oh my God, who would do this? Blah, 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 blah. And he's like, you have one thing. He goes, you dip in, you go, who would shit in the middle of all the coats? And he's like, and then you're out. You're done. You don't say anything after. I don't know why that always cracks me up, but that's basically what I did last night because they started arguing about Alex Jones shit. And, you know, oh, he's 99% right, all this other stuff and everything. I said, was he right about Sandy Hook? And then I didn't say anything about Alex Jones afterwards because I didn't need to, because the amount of people, and I mean, you're talking about something that Alex Jones literally got sued, lost his company over because he said that Sandy Hook was basically bullshit and they were actors. Like, not even like kids were killed, anything like this. That it was all crisis actors. They're acting like, oh God, you know, my kid's dead, but it wasn't a real person, you know, or a person with a kid who died. And he was like completely wrong about all of it. And people were legit there must have been about 6 or 7 of them that were like, no, Sandy Hook was actually fake. Like, and saying shit to that extent. And I'm thinking to myself, like, holy fuck, are you people retarded? Like, what the fuck are we doing here? And the one person arguing the hardest for the chemtrails, like I said I follow the science and everything else. And it was like, said something about Sandy Hook being fake. And I was like, are you fucking nuts? Like, you've got to be fucking nuts. Like, well, what the fuck kind of tinfoil hat wearing shit am I dealing with here? It's just craziness. And that shit was funny, but I mean, I miss it. I miss jumping into ABL chat and all that and hanging out in there because people like Sheree are in there. Mister's in there every now and again. Six is in there. Like, a lot of the people you'll see on the stream are in there. And like, we cut up and make side jokes. Devin will pass me my popcorn. I pass her hers. And we'll cut jokes back and forth that are just in jokes between all of us. And every now and again, you'll get some random person who jumps in or is funny too. But one of the regulars on there, and I'm not going to say the guy's name. I'm just going to call him Xbox. And if Sheree's listening right now, she's already probably fucking giggling. Called in about a week ago, and it was like, I lost my job and I'm losing my house and all that, which is fucking tragic, right? Because this guy's like, he's kind of weird, but he's a decent guy. Like, you know, I got nothing against him or what have you. But he's like, yeah, I'm losing my house and all this kind of shit. He goes, I lost my job because, you know, I won't concede that Trump lost the election in 2020. And I'm like thinking to myself, like, my guy. And he said he's an airplane mechanic. And I'm thinking to myself, like, bro, like, if they're like, yo, it's your job, or you say 2020, how does that even fucking come up at work? Right? How do you even, like, side chit chat or whatever, unless you're being like full on conspiracy theorist and going the fuck off at work, like, you don't understand, the election of 2020 was stolen from Trump, all that, like, flipping the fuck out. There's no way anybody would know any of that shit about you if you're actually just there to do your job and everything else. Plus, if you're a good airline mechanic or airplane mechanic, you're going to be able to find a job anywhere. Anywhere. They'll hire your ass. I mean, look at all the shit that was happening with Boeings. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. You're not wrong, shit, Sheree. Yeah, Devin fucking had me cracking up. But yeah, so I'm sitting there midstream, and I'm gonna tell you now, what made that shit all that more delicious and funny, and almost had me pissing myself, because the stream where he said he was going homeless and he lost his job and all that, he was like, he's just random chatting in the ABL chat, and he's like, yeah, I cook the best food and all this shit. I'm like, oh, cool. Go to the local bakery and become a baker. Like, then you can save your house. Like, I'm, just being a smartass. Oh, I'm a good car mechanic. Oh, well, shit. Go down to Jiffy Lube, get a job. Then you can take that money and save your house. Like, but last night he called in, and, because the dude was Muslim with the whole Louisiana thing, the New Orleans thing, right? He said, he called up and he was like, look, Americans don't need to go up on Muslims and all this kind of stuff. And okay, the sentiment's true, but there was not one person in the chat that was like, goddamn, Muslims are killing everybody and all this kind of stuff. Everybody's like, oh, that's so tragic what happened in New Orleans. So nobody's talking about the fucking Muslim aspect of this shit. Nobody gave a fuck about it except for him. So there was that. And I was about to type something, and all of a sudden I hear the bong. What? Discord's going off. What the fuck? And somebody who will remain nameless had me in tears laughing, because the message I got was, yo, this guy's homeless and still calling into the fucking show. And like, it just, the way it landed, I don't know what it was about the timing, what, like this guy was going off about or what have you. I about pissed myself, because I'm thinking to myself, like, yeah, Why aren't you out there looking for a fucking job? Why you got time to like call into a fucking show? I can see if you're working a Joe job and you got the show on in the background, but like legitimately, like, yo, you're gonna lose your house. You just told us all this, and you're more worried about like, hey, don't attack Muslims and stuff, but you're not Muslim yourself, right? So basically, all you did was like a giant ass virtue signal. And it's like, yeah, well, hopefully they'll let you live at the mosque, motherfucker, because you ain't gonna have a house soon. But like I said, if you have a skill set like you are a plane mechanic and you're very good at your job, well, I've been one for 20 something years, he will tell everybody. Well, if you're that good at your job, go get another job being an airline mechanic or airplane mechanic somewhere. What is it like, if it wasn't a performance issue? Were you spouting off fucking crazy? Couldn't do the job anyway, and they're just like, yo, it's time to get rid of this motherfucker. Like, what's the deal with this? I don't understand, you know? I mean, if I was in danger of losing my house, hey, welcome to McDonald's would be coming out of my mouth if I couldn't find a job, you know? Like, you would hear me doing all kinds of stuff. Like I'll send you feet pics. Just fucking send me money for my house. Like, no shame at all. Like, it's your house, man. Like, but what are you doing? Like, you have time to fucking call into ABL Live, but you don't have time to fucking like get a job and save your fucking house? And like, just insane shit. Insane. I don't understand. And that man wears a tinfoil hat too half the time. He'll come up with just like out of left field shit on the fly, and you're like, I need to fact check this. And then you go to fact check it, and it's like, yeah, none of this is true what he's saying, but he thinks it's true because this was the bullshit article that led him to it. Uh, Joel, yeah. See, like I never watched Joel's show because honestly, even when he would call in, and I'm not saying like, hey, look, even Alex Jones, right? So okay, Alex Jones got Sandy Hook wrong. It cost him everything for the most part. Do I think he should have had his show stripped from sued into oblivion and all that? No. I think that's the bullshit of it. I think that was them getting rid of Alex Jones, right? I think that's bullshit. I think he should be able to say whatever he wants. If he thought that shit was fake, he thought that shit was fake. Okay, you said it, you meant it, you're here to represent it. I don't think you should lose everything for that. If you're saying something that you know is completely false and you're doing it for a click rating, then yeah, you might need a kick in the ass. But with Joel, I have nothing against the guy. I watched a little bit of his content. He has funny moments and stuff like that. But it was legit like he tried to copy pasta fucking ABL. Like, I was waiting for him to say, I'm out in peace at the end of every fucking episode of his show he was doing. And then people told me, like he was hard on the grift. And I mean, hard on the grift as in, look, I really need the money. You guys got to send me more money, stuff like this. I don't know that if that's fact or not. I've been told that's fact. Haven't watched enough of the guy. I'm not going to like, diminish his name if that's not the case. But that's what I heard is he was big time on grifting and getting people to send him money to keep him alive, basically. And I mean, hey, if that's the truth, be honest with it. That's why I love like Geeks and Gamers. Jeremy, I don't know what his name is, the guy who looks like he can't grow eyebrows. But the guy who owns Geeks and Gamers, he does his Cobra cast and all that. And the first thing he fucking says every time is, I'm a grifter. Send me them big ass super chats. I'm a grifter. I'm all right with that. You're cool, like you're honest about it and everything else, and you're making a joke of it. That's fine. Don't don't hand me a song and dance and try and tell me no, it's not that. But ultimately, give me all your fucking money. Like, what are we doing here? For me, I think this year I would like to hit 500 subscribers and have the hours watched and actually get monetized by YouTube just to show I made a dent in things. That'd be cool. Am I going to do it? Probably not. Yeah, they come into everything you said, ABL. You're not wrong, Sheree. I do know he would come in every time he call and go, ABL. Everything you said, I say about in about an hour now. From now, I'm gonna say on my show, and I was saying the same thing earlier, exactly. And you got a great show and all that stuff. Last night, I said on ABL because ABL was talking about equity and equality. And I said, yes, I have the ability to suck at YouTube. I found that I have the ability to suck at YouTube. And to ABL's credit, he saw that. He could have said nothing. And I wasn't talking about ABL. I was talking about myself because I do think my channel's kind of I don't put that much effort into it. So I get exactly what I put in out of it. That's my own damn fault. If I really set up descriptions and posted more and did all this kind of shit, maybe I would have those 500 subscribers. Maybe I'd have 1,000. Maybe I would have more hours watched. Maybe people would give a fuck about what I actually got a voice and say. And I'm all right not having it. But I think that should be a goal for me, maybe going forward, is trying to get monetized on here. I think that could be cool. And I would tell everybody, look, I'm here to take YouTube's money, not everybody else's money. So I still wouldn't want anybody joining or sending super chats or any of that. I'd just get YouTube's money for it. But yeah, ABL, I said, I'm shit. I found that I haven't a shitty or I have the ability to be crappy on YouTube or something to that extent. And ABL said, GAM. He goes, if you have the ability to be crappy on YouTube, I'm also crappy at YouTube as well. And he's like, but speak to the market and the market is spoken. And it was cool. I honestly, 110% my respect for ABL went up because he could have been like, oh yeah, well, it's a shame you don't have millions of subscribers like me, or been a douche about it. And instead he was like, I suck at it too. It's okay. You just got to figure out your content. If you put out better content, you're going to get and market it right. You're going to get better results. ABL's 100% right. I can't disagree with him, but I did appreciate him taking that. He split off for a second and legit addressed it immediately. And I was impressed. I was caught off guard by it actually. But yeah, and then and then Charade came out and said that I was amazing or some crazy shit, and I made my heart swell a little bit because her, Devin, and you forever, a couple of others, you guys have been ride or die with me, and you guys definitely supportive no matter how shitty my content actually is, or even if it's not shitty. I don't know. I'm just me. I just do my thing. And if it's supposed to happen, it will. That's kind of where I'm at with it. I working at it or whatever. I also don't want it to be a grift. No, and I don't expect. And that's the other thing. Unless I'm a super sexy girl wearing next to nothing and showing my goodies off, I don't expect it to be overnight either. I'm not. I'm a middle-aged dude who's painting fucking 3D prints. I should gain a follower here or a follower there. And I'm happy for every one of the followers I get too. That's the big thing. Is that I see some people that get all upset over their numbers. Why didn't this video land so big? Well, look at your fucking video. Was it good? Was it shit? Could you have done it better? There's times on here where I notice where I'm not talking at all. I go completely silent or, what have you. And yeah, that's not good. Because somebody like Sheree, who I know has watched a video after I put it out, or Six who watched a video after I put it out, I realized oh, well, there's 20, 30 minutes on that video where I didn't have anybody in chat and I wasn't talking. They have to be bored as fuck watching that. Like they legit have to just be like, okay, well he's just gonna paint now. So I'll do my nails. I'll play this video game over here, and when he starts talking again, I'll actually watch his video. Or even worse, I'm just gonna fast forward. I'll just fast forward to where he's talking again about things, you know? But yeah, I mean, it actually was encouraging of ABL to like stop for a second and say something to me. Like, he's got a lot of followers. He's got a lot of people. Like, he had like 2,500 people or something watching his channel last night. That's fucking very nice to know that somebody that I've watched for a very long time, they actually do notice you. I saw that last night and I was like, damn, that was actually very cool ABL. Because when I was posting under my real name, he would shout me out here or there. Like he'd read something I say. And I don't know if you ever realized I switched, like if I'm the same person that he used to shout out, and I don't know if he even gives a fuck, you know. But when you see the same name in the chat, and I don't know that he knows that I stopped watching him for a minute there because I was just done with politics for a minute. But he definitely acknowledged me last night, and I appreciate the hell out of him. Yeah. Yeah, well, I don't blame you, Sheree. Like, if you're doing something and then you're, listening or what have you, I do the same shit. I put like, like even the bigger podcasts, like Joe Rogan, what the fuck? I don't need to see you sitting there talking on a fucking microphone. I'll just put you on in the background while I'm taking people out on Marvel. Like while I'm playing Marvel Rivals or running high rounds on zombies or whatever the fuck I'm doing in the background. Oh, I'm doing dishes. Okay, well, I put on PBD and I'm listening to PBD podcast in the background or what have you. The only ones that I really got to pay attention to is shit like ABL, where one, he's flipping through clips so fast and all that, you got to kind of keep up. But the other part of it is because I'm active in the chat. So it's like I've got to watch what the chat's saying so I can respond or joke around. Like if Mister's in there and, you're always in there. That's the one thing that sucks about Sheree being a mod, though. Sheree can't like joke around like she used to. She's got to be kind of serious in there. And like I said to her last night, I was like, well, tomorrow you can say whatever the fuck you want because you can be the moderator and say all kinds of craziness or have fun. You know, I don't mind. It doesn't bother me. I don't know that I deserve any kind of spotlight. Like that's just it. I don't do shit for the spotlight either, to be kind of quite honest with you. I do it because I just want to, like, I want everybody to laugh and sometimes get that break. Like, same thing with this channel. What was the whole fucking point of the channel? I was like, oh, well, I can do cool stuff about cryptids, which I'll do when I paint the other model. But what is the whole point of the channel? And it's basically, like we said, it's a fucking brain break. You get to listen to some asshole who's just giving his opinion on things, painting stuff. So I'm creating something and be able to chill, express your opinion. You're going to get pushback if it's something that's like, well, that doesn't make sense. Or you're going to get asked questions of, like, say, like we're talking about the chemtrails. Somebody was in the chat and was like, oh, yeah, that chemtrail shit, it's 100% legit. Well, I got some questions then. Like, shout out to Beans. When Beans was still in here and active all the time, even though I used to make fun of her for flat earth shit, she at least had answers. Like, she would come back and say, oh, well, water always finds its level, or something like this, where you're at least, I would pop questions at her. At least she'd answer the questions and everything else. But yeah, it's just one of those things where some of these people, if you challenge that life view, like, so one of the worst things to ever fucking happen, in my opinion, as far as crazy conspiracy shit like this. One is that some of them got proven true, right? That's bad enough on its own. When you got something that's fucking out there, you know, COVID leaked from a lab, and the Chinese were trying to get the genetics just right so it only affected white people, black people, anybody that wasn't Asian. Well, Alex Jones was right. So now he looks like a prophet, not like a nut. Not good. But yeah, one of the worst things to happen, I think, as far as conspiracies go and conspiracy theorists and all that stuff, was that QAnon shit with Pizzagate and everything like this. And the reason I say that is because there was enough believability in it to make it viable, but it was total bullshit. And people to this day still think that shit was real, even though the guy, Q himself, has come out and said, yeah, this was all bullshit. I ran with it. You know what I mean? And then you get people that actually believe it. It's terrifying in a way. You've got, like the person with the chemtrails. I believe only in fact and science. I'm not talking about crazy shit like flat earth. I'm talking about chemtrails. It's like, yeah, no, that's just as nuts. You just don't realize why it's just as nuts is because it's science that can be explained and has always been there, but you need to turn it into the government is doing this. And that same person, 110% is all about the Great Reset. So it's like, what facts and science are you actually bringing? Do you really think that's how it works? There's this cabal of people. You know what rich people want? More money and more power. That's what rich people want. They don't need to enslave people. If so, they'll get somebody who's disposable. They will do whatever they want to them and dispose of them because they have the money to do it. Do they want power over everybody else and like I'm the guiding light in this world? Yes. Yes, okay. You're 100% correct there too. Do they want global world domination like they're fucking Cobra Commander or something? I don't know about that one because there is a limit to how much shit you actually care about. Like why would you want to dominate the world? Doesn't matter. Like you could be king of all the world. Somebody doing that job would fucking be hating life after about 6 months of just fucking like listening to different people bitch. And I get like, well, you want to be the most important thing in the world and you want, the whole world to revolve around you. Okay. Egomania, maniacal or whatever. Okay. I can see it. But I also think that that's way too much. It's too much shit to balance and keep track of and keep control of. You're going to be hating life after a point in time. And I'm not saying that because laziness is my superpower. I'm just saying that because I just think of mild bitches between employees at a retail, like a Walgreens or something. Two employees don't like working with each other. They bitch and snipe at each other all the time. Now imagine that shit with countries on a bigger scale. I wouldn't want all that bullshit. Be like trying to piss up a crooked stick and not getting wet. Like, good luck with it, pal. You're going to go fucking nuts after a little while. Like, well, fuck all this. Like, who wants that shit? And if you are somebody who wants it, like, same way some people think that, like, if you're rich, you got no problems. No, you just have no problems when it comes to money. Doesn't mean that you have no problems. You can still have health problems that can't be cured and die. Like, it just, I don't know. I think people really need a grand conspiracy sometimes, or need it to be the entire world is fucked up and against them, specifically them. Not it's against all people that are of this class or race or whatever, just about them in particular. You know, I think that it's some people need to be the hero of the story or the main character, when the reality is that all of us are just side characters in a bigger story that is just nature, earth, and the world. You know, none of us are actually the main character. We're all main characters here and there. I think that's what your 15 minutes of fame are, is every now and again you are the main character. Every now and again, and you know, the universe smiles upon you, and you have those 15 minutes of fame. I also think that, you know, kind of like you said, a double-edged sword, Sheree. I think that's also kind of a double-edged sword, because look at the people that get famous and then go fucking total batshit insane, or get super, super famous and just go off the reservation as far as like mentally. Like they can't handle it, because I can't picture going to the supermarket with my wife, go shopping, and all of a sudden a mob of people come running up to me and want my autograph and a picture with me and, hey, can I get a selfie and all this kind of shit. That shit's got to get old fast. You know, I'm sure there's a narcissistic subset of people that would love that attention. I don't want that fucking attention. I just want to go to the store, get my shit, and get the fuck out. I don't even like dealing with half the people that I have to deal with while I'm in there. Like, but there's certain people that that's what they crave. They want the world to love them and notice them. And it's crazy, because to be honest with you, if you are going to do something like a great reset, or you're, you know, there's this giant cabal of people that are running the world, you would not want anybody to know your name. You would want to be fucking Kaiser Sose. Like you would, the best trick that the devil ever pulled was making everybody believe he didn't exist, right? You would want to be that guy where nobody knew who you were and just faded in the background. And you're the actual power behind the power. Yeah, I can't think of anything much worse than that level of fame. And, you know, I think when I was younger, like when I was in my 20s, I wanted everybody to know my name. I wanted everybody to be like, oh, I partied with, you know, this guy, and this guy's amazing. You know, and I still have that shit to this day, where if I go to my hometown or whatever, or somebody goes to my house, like I think I told this story. My mother had this electrician over to fix something going on. And the guy walked into my mom's house and was like, holy shit, this is, you know, GAM's house. And she was like, yes, it is. That's my son. And he's like, I remember, you're his mom. And oh my God, we partied here and we did this and we did that. And I asked my mom what dude's name was. She told me, and I was like, I don't even remember the fucking guy. But dude, that guy knew everything about me. And you know, like when you're young, you set your mark. And like when I look back now, that's like the saddest time in my life was setting that mark. It was like, okay, yes, I had notoriety. I was the man throwing the party. I was everybody's best friend, all this kind of stuff. Now I look at that shit like, damn, that was sad. Like that's how I'm going to go down remembered, is I'm this dude who threw the party, you know? I'm this guy, where was the substance in it? Was it the guy who was I the guy who fed the homeless and took care of people out of charity, of my goodwill and heart? No, I was the guy who got fucked up with you and made sure you got fucked up. Where, you know, you got fucked up at one of my parties and you passed out before everybody else. Like my one buddy, poor Captain Jack, when he was a rookie, because when you used to party with us, first like 4 or 5 parties, you were automatically a rookie. You had a rookie status. And then the upper members, you know, like immortals and legend stat, Like we all had like membership cards, everything. And Captain Jack, his first time partying with us really hard, he passed out probably about 11 o'clock. Everybody was raging out partying and drinking and smoking up and everything else till about 4 in the morning. Captain Jack passed out at 10. We all gathered around him, deciding what we were going to do. And the next morning, good old Captain Jack woke up with his fucking work boots that were waterproof floating in my toilet. And they were full. And it wasn't water in those boots. And he laughed it off and he kept partying with us. And that's why Captain Jack went up in the ranks, because he could laugh it off and party with us. But he learned, yes, I don't take off my boots. I don't leave shit around in a party place where people are going to fuck with me. It's just typical rookie mistake. And like, you know, we weren't malicious with it. Like, oh, well, kick his fucking ass or anything. It was, you know, now if you're a nasty drunk and thought you could fight the party, you get your ass kicked. But we would just fuck with you like that. Like float his boots in the toilet and piss in them, you know? Like they're waterproof. He's going to have to deal with that. But it's crazy because I think of setting my mark when I'm young, and now that I'm old, I want nobody to even know where I am. And like people from up north, I hear from here or there. Really, my one boy Shadow, I talk to him like almost weekly now. Ever since my one other buddy Bones got into an accident, who I've still not heard from. He has still yet to call me. But Shadow, I hear from damn near weekly now. And then my buddy Bubba, that you know, he's probably my best friend now up there, and I talk to him all the time. I talk to Bubs all the time. He's family. Let me see. I need to clean up that eye a little, right on the edge. He's about done. But yeah, I legit like I wanted to fade off into the distance. It was time. It was time for me to grow up and all that stuff. So I can't think of how these people, as they're getting older, like want that fame. Like to me, it's odd. I don't know what they missed in their childhood, what they didn't gain in adulthood, but to me, it's always odd. Like, are you doing it to better yourself, or are you afraid people are going to forget who you are? Yeah, there you go, Sheree. That's a good way of putting it. I've grown out of socializing. I mean, I still have friends on social media, like, and to be honest with you, it's cool because whenever I post, like, if it hadn't been for social media forever monetized, he wouldn't be in here watching the channel as much as he does. He's here specifically because of that. Because I got him on my friends list, and he comes in. He's always been a cool guy and decent friend, and he tunes in constantly. I always put the link up on Facebook. I put it up on Facebook. I put it in the Discord. Like I haven't seen much of Frogzilla lately. He's busy doing his thing, but I also don't fault anybody. Maybe we weren't Frogzilla's type of show. Like I think he had us on the background and was just chilling. But yeah, like same thing from you know Frogzilla. I can tell you personally, he's the same way. He's had his day when he was young, um, and then now it's a different day. Now we're old, and it's okay to be old. Like I'm happy being old. If you were to ask my mother is probably one of the biggest narcissists I've ever met in my life. If you were to ask my mother about being old or whatever, it's the most horrible, disgusting, terrifying, shitty experiences. And it's like, I don't look at it that way. I look at it now, where before I was, you know, piss and vinegar and a Spitfire and all this kind of shit. Now I am legitimately a in in case of emergency break glass and throw GAM at the motherfucker. Like I've become that guy, and I'm all right with it. Like I'm happy with that role. You definitely don't have to deal with the drama. You don't have to deal with the bullshit. Nobody wants the drama. Nobody wants the bullshit, which is why we should all be fucking having fun. We should all be enjoying life. And then, it's interesting because then as you get older, and if you're responsible as you get older, it's crazy how things work out for you. Because there was shit in my, I'm going to say younger lizard brain where I told my wife, we'll never have a house. We'll never have this. We'll never have that. And my wife was like, look, motherfucker, you got to hang in there and work at it. You'll see. But you got to do shit the right way. And she showed me. And shout out to my wife. She was 100% right. My car died Christmas Eve going into Christmas Day. They told us it was going to need enough work done to the air part of the engine, like, not just like, oh well, you got to change the air filter, but the whole vacuum system in the engine and all this is kind of shot and blah 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 blah. And the car's from 2008, so it's old, right? So we were like, fuck, now we got to deal with this, like adult shit, right? And I'm like, well, let's start looking at used cars. We start looking at used cars. My son chimes in. He's like, look, you should really be looking at a new car. Like, fuck that. I'm not losing $5,000 when I drive it off the showroom floor. Like, what are you talking about? Because I'm thinking about it like how I've always thought about a new car. Like, you're losing money the moment you take it off the lot. I think that motherfucker came out damn near spot, by the way. And my wife, he said, no, you got to understand the used car market right now is kind of like the 2008 housing bubble. So we looked into it. I looked into it. 81,000 miles, a 2022 car, same model that I bought. Now, the 2022 version of it with 81,000 miles on it was going for $18,000. I bought, and honestly, really, my wife bought a brand new version of that car, 2025, not 2024, 2025. They started at 29,000. She immediately got, I think it was $6,000 off the price tag. How? Because she said she hated the color of the car, even though she didn't mind the color of the car. Like, that didn't matter. They took $6,000 right off the price tag. So already right there, we've gone from 29 down to 23. And then my wife nailed out this, that, and the other thing with the car, financing, everything else. Got that shit down to 19,000, back up to 22,000 with 3-year extended bumper to bumper warranties. Anything goes wrong, actual company maintenance, like, because it's Chevy or what have you. So actual Chevy maintenance, like you take it to the Chevy maintenance center, they fix that shit. Tire blows, they replace the tire. All that, right? 22,000 some change with title, tax, tags, all the warranties, everything else, with 4 miles on it versus a 2022 of the same car with 81,000 miles for $18,000. Yeah, guess which one we got? We got the brand new fucking car. I've never had a brand new car in my life. And honestly, I love it. I think it's a great car. Like, so far, it's a great fucking car. But I'm like, holy shit, we actually have a brand new car. I don't even smoke in the goddamn thing. Like, that's how much I like it. But yeah, it's 110%. That was 110% my wife. My wife went in there and, like, I can't say what my wife does for a living, but, like, she went in there like she was a ditz. And then when it came time for the financial talk and everything else, she danced circles around and made them look like assholes. And, like, I was just like, God damn. Like, ingenious the way she did it. Masterful. It was even crazier because she had a second test drive set up at a different place that's, like, literally down the road from this dealership. And in the middle of them discussing price and everything else and haggling it out, fucking her phone blows up and she turned the phone around and showed the guy. And it was the other fucking dealership calling her to make sure the test drive was still on. It was great. Like, I'm telling you, my wife is fucking unbelievable when it comes to that shit. I take no credit for that. That's 100% her. If anything, I've learned so much shit from my wife about dealing with shit like this. But yeah, we ended up with a brand new goddamn 2025. So breaking it down, you know, it's crazy. But as an adult, like it's different. And I still got friends that are stuck in that mindset of, well, life don't matter. Well, you don't understand. You got a family, you got a wife. Even if I was flying solo at this point, there's been enough of an influence and a maturing of me that I wouldn't go back to the way old shit was ever. Like I wouldn't go back to drinking every night. I wouldn't go back to partying my ass off. Maybe I was more interesting back then to other people, but fuck other people. Like I think I'm more interesting, just sitting here bullshitting on a fucking microphone to, two, three, 20 beautiful people that want to listen or, chime in and have a good time and chill. I don't know. I see the benefit of having the responsibilities of an adult and still fucking having the fun of a child. Like otherwise I wouldn't paint shit like this little dude, you know? And this one's for my wife, so it's kind of childish, but I think it works. In the meantime, I'm gonna move on to I'm gonna try and say this goddamn thing's name. Oh, and it's gonna go so bad when I do. It's the Qalupalik. I want to say is how you pronounce it. Qalupalik, and it's actually an Inuit myth. Let me let's do this because I haven't read one of these off in a minute. I've always been just winging it. Let's get rid of Mr. Badtz Maru and switch over to the Qalupalik. Qalupalik. Qalupalik? I don't know because I'm not Inuit. And when I say Inuit, if you don't know what an Inuit is, an Eskimo, okay? But yeah, that's kind of what the fuck that looks like right there on the lower right of the screen. And you can see the baby in the back crying, all right, which is right here is where that baby would go. And what the Inuits do is these things supposedly live in the water, in like Arctic waters. And I'll get into the whole thing about it in a minute, but they basically live in the Arctic waters and it's kind of like, if you stay up past your bedtime, the boogeyman's going to come out of your closet and get you, except for it's more Inuit parents tell their children, if you get too close to that ice and that cold freezing water, then one of these things is going to grab you and take you away. So, like, scare tactic by parents and stuff like that, but there's also mythology with them, which I'll get into. I do know that supposedly their skin is impenetrable by harpoons and everything else. And what hunters would do to trick them, because they're also supposedly shapeshifters, they'll trick them into turning into a whale or into like a seal or whatever. And the moment they do, then that's when they take them out. Oh, but I know what I was gonna make. I was gonna make a very inappropriate joke there, Devin. But it's good to see you. Would you like some popcorn here? Devin's here, everybody. Let's get her some popcorn. There you go. Got to throw a little popcorn to her. Oh shit, look at that. You can actually see all my emojis and such pop. That's crazy. I really needed to hide that better. Yeah. I was laughing, Devin, because that person who I'm not going to, name them, but last night when I was talking about Great Reset and all that shit with you, they were 110% responding to me, but doing it through a third party, like some poor dude. And it was just hysterical. Fucking, I'm sitting here thinking about it. I, it, when, so when Xbox called in, I 110%, like I thought immediately of you, Devin, and actually a charade too. And I was going to turn around and just like, I thought about playing back what he actually said on his phone call 2 weeks ago and doing it in the Alex Jones voice and linking it all together. Chemtrails in the air, they're coming through, and all those chemtrails are there to turn the frogs gay, which will cause the Great Reset to happen. And then the overlords and the oligarchy are going to be able to make sure that everything happens that way. You'll want nothing, you'll have nothing, you'll be happy. That's what their plans are, and it's basically driven by the Clintons, the Obamas, and possibly by Kamala Harris herself. We're not sure. Tim Waltz, he's definitely there to make sure the kids are trans in high school and put tampons in all the boys' bathrooms. We're going to make sure that I may be losing my house over here. I was at work. I got in an argument with a guy. He was clearly in with Blue Anon, and I'm pretty sure he was working for the Obamas. I was supposed to be working on my airplane. Instead, we got into a talk about the election. I told him 2020 was stolen from Trump. I'm going to stand by that statement. I'm not going to back off of that statement. And yeah, then this man turned around and because he's working with the Illuminati and possibly going out to Epstein's Island, I'm not sure, but that was my boss. And because of that, he fired me and I'm going to lose my home. Also, did you know that the Vanderbilts and the Rockefellers, they bought everything up? They own over $250 trillion. I know that's more money than there is in the entire world, but they own more than $250 trillion. And yeah, they're controlling the airplane industry, and that's what got me fired as a mechanic. I know I was drinking some of the airplane fuel on the side, but that had nothing to do with it. So yeah, that's the other thing too. And I will sing the song because you had to remind me of it, right? My brain is like scattered most times. So, but yeah, it just cracks me up because when he called in, he said something about his daughter or some shit has like a beautiful singing voice and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, everybody in Alex Jones' voice, home, home on the range, where the deer and the antelope play. I'm just a regular slob. It cost me my job, but I live in the good old US of A. It was that song, Devin. It was that song. But yeah, I had posted that in there, and then somebody else popped in different shit for sing alongs, and like it just that shit cracks me up. It just like the fucking tinfoil hat. Like bro, it's not a conspiracy against you. Maybe either A, you suck at your job, or you should stop fucking talking wacky bullshit. Like, if you're wearing the fact that you got thrown off of Facebook for saying controversial shit as a badge of honor, yeah, that might have something to do with it. Hello, Danny Boss. You know, when Xbox called in the ABL and he was talking about people hating on Muslims, he was directing that shit at you, right? I'm trying to start a fight now where you go off in ABL chats. I was like, if anybody should be upset at anything to do with Muslims at all, it's Danny Boss. Like, not going to lie at all. Anybody who's over in the UK who's pissed off at Muslims, I can't argue with you. Like, it's a whole culture thing over there. It's all fucked up. So, you're a devout Muslim now. Praise be to Allah and the Prophet Elijah Muhammad. Is that where you're at? I can't see you eating bean pies and wearing that little tiny hat on your head, carrying around like a rug and throwing it on the ground and bending down and praying every day at a certain time. You worship you worship snack bar? Yeah, you got to change your name to right. My name's gone from Danny Boss. It's switching over now. You're now going to call me Salif Khalid Muhammad. Right. Oh God. All right, time to start painting this freak. Let's see what we got. Let's look her up. I'll talk about her in the Alex Jones voice too. I'll do the Alex Jones voice here while describing the mythology behind this Inuit creepy fucker. Qalupalik mythology. Alrighty. Let's see what we got. When you think of a mermaid, a few different images may cross through your mind. Images of kind-hearted, beautiful half-fish, half-human maidens, or perhaps sirens, that may be beautiful, but once they have you in their clutches, turn to heinous beast ready to kill you. But the Qalupalik is a bit different. I've been doing good, Danny. Like I was saying, I want to try and I think I'm going to try and get this channel where YouTube's paying me to do this or whatever, just as a goal for 2025. Life has its ups and downs, but it's going and everything's cool. I'm still painting. I still got, cool people showing up and bullshitting with me, so I'll keep doing it. Outside of that, I mean, just another day, another dollar. How's everything been over in the UK with you? All right, here we go. We're going to get into this legend and let's switch up in the full Alex Jones. It's AJ time. The legend of the Qalupalik comes from the Inuit people and their icy Arctic waters. Unlike many other mythical mermaids, there is nothing attractive about the Qalupalik. They are described as aquatic humanoids with scaly, bumpy skin. They are often depicted as having fins coming out of their heads, backs, and torsos. Their hands, though webbed or clawed, made for the hunt. The Qalupalik are also rumored to smell like sulfur and wear elder duck clothing. Most hauntingly is what they carry, an amatuik. Amatuiks are commonly worn by Inuit women to secure their babies to their backs. So this little pouch right here, They carry Amatuik so they can snatch small Inuit children, just like Pizzagate. Inuit parents warn their children frequently about the dreadful Qalupaliks. One of the warning signs, if they are near the shore and hear a human noise and hear a humming noise. The humming is a warning that the Qalupalik is near. The humming is meant to entice curious children to come closer to the edge of the shores so the Qalupalik can steal the child away. However, the threat does not vanish if you're away from the shore. Sometimes the Qalupalik will knock under the ice, drawing a child to a weak part or hole in the ice to steal them away. But what do Qalupalik do with the stolen children? Some say they sell them to the Democrats. Some say they eat them. But other legends say they take them away to a cave and put them under a sleeping spell. They feed on the young, innocent energy to remain immortal, just like getting adrenochrome in Pizzagate. Like many creatures from folklore, Qalupalik serves a utilitarian purpose in the harsh environment of what is now northern Alaska and Canada. By scaring the children out of wanting to be alone or going too close to sea, ice, or the shore, they lowered the chances that the child would venture near those dangerous places. Most Qalupaliks appear as female and not male, but that's because they put stuff in the water and turn these fish gay. Yeah, I honestly, Danny, now seeing that, I don't blame you. Yeah, they might smell like farts too, or maybe like a $5 whore, one of the two. But yeah, Danny, I get you. You got to take a break from shit sometimes, and social media, politics, bullshit going on in the world. If you don't take that back up from it and catch your breath, let your brain reset and everything else, you start going a little crazy, start believing in shit like chemtrails and the Great Reset. Now, if this was Empire Wars, then somebody would have already sued me for $275 trillion. So the big description on this thing is green scaly skin, black claws, webbed hands, which we got, jet black hair. I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do with the eyes. I got to make them creepy as fuck, though. I'll tell you that much. And then this is all supposedly duck slash seal skin with the furnishing. So basically like an Eskimo or an Inuit. You got he like I said, social media, including Discord and stuff like that. All right, let's start with some skin. Let's get some slimy, creepy stuff going here. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, Danny. Like, so, and I know, like, American politics over here, it's become almost like watching American football, where you got two different teams and people are cheering their team on. Over in the UK, politics has got to be depressing as fuck. Um, Seeing like a great nation just get fucked up left and right. That's got to drive you damn near mad. Looking into religion a little too hard or leaning into it too hard can be a good thing, but it can also be a terrible thing too if you start really asking questions that nobody will give you the answers to. Which is why when it comes to anything having to do with Catholicism or hardcore Christianity, Devon's my go-to for that kind of stuff. She's very well versed. And one time at band camp, oh yeah, definitely hit the like button if you can. That shit does help me out apparently in the algorithm. I don't know how. Nobody seems to be able to tell me either. Yeah, I just know it does because otherwise, how does somebody who wears a beanie and pretends to be like 18 years old, even though they're like 35 at this point, get like 40 million subscribers and like 100,000 views in the first 5 minutes of every video, like Tim Pool? The Heretic, no. What was it about? I saw the new Nosferatu. I liked it. It was very slow. Um, but then again, I like the old school Nosferatu, so I already knew it was coming. So for me, it was like super slow moving movie, but I thought it was shot well. It was creepy as fuck, and I thought it was well acted and well done for a remake. I don't think they fucked it up. Yeah, I saw that. Watched one called Maxine, but I didn't see the other movies that Maxine came from, so it was all right. Just basically like torture porn for the most part. Is that the one that has, oh God, Sir Anthony Hopkins in it? Is it that movie? I started watching Squid Game because there's somebody that's in my that watches this channel frequently that was watching it, and I figured I could discuss it with them if there is nobody else on. But honestly, it went up to episode 7 and then stopped, so I don't know if they're splitting the season or what the fuck. But Squid Game season 2 has actually been pretty good. I like it better than season 1 actually. Yeah, I'll have to look up the Heretic and see what that's about. But yeah, I was saying early on in the stream, I think my favorite thing that I saw this year outside of What We Do in the Shadows ending, like I didn't realize that was the series finale for it, was really good. Um, the show Shogun, I thought was fantastic. Like that they did a great job with Shogun. Movie wise, I'm gonna have to say it's Wolverine. Deadpool and Wolverine was definitely probably my pick for a movie this year. That was just okay, cool. Marvel isn't completely dead. They, between the cavalry appearing and some of the love that they had for the characters and stuff in it, thought they did a fantastic job. Yeah, episode 7, the ending to that episode was like, damn. They definitely. I saw that coming a mile out though when he said to him, he's like, "Yeah, you're gonna have to pay a price for your little game." I was like, "Oh no, 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 this is not good." I'm definitely loving the character of Number 11 on that show though. Like how she's subverting all the fucking assholes, like the craziness she's pulling off. Yeah, I'm not going to get into spoiler territory, Danny, because I figure like it. Like I said, if it was just Sheree and I who were watching it or what have you, but if other people want to watch it, I'm not going to spoil it. I'm just going to tell you that I definitely liked it better. The first episode, I was kind of like about, and then it got really good from there. Like it took back over. You got new characters that you give a shit about that are playing the game, and like I said, I think number 11 is the chick's name. And she's actually like one of my favorite new characters because she's a badass. She just really is. And not like, oh, well, we made her a Mary Sue badass. Like, she's just flat out a badass. But yeah, like, I definitely, I think one of my favorite characters that they have on there now, there's this little old woman, an elderly woman that her son is like a scumbag, like gambling all the time and all that shit. And she's there trying to help him. And like, just the way she comes across is so genuine. It's great. Like she's just you're cheering for her to try and to make it through the game, and like it's crazy. And the guy who plays number one on that show, Sheree, like the contestant number one is the way I'll put it. He reminds me of like a South Korean version of Mads Mikkelsen. The way the actor looks and carries himself and everything else, I really enjoy that character. Even though you know who he is and all this kind of shit, I still enjoy that character a lot. Yeah, it's just it's a shame. Definitely a shame. It, like I didn't know how they were going to pull off this season, if it was going to be decent or not. It's pretty good so far. Pretty good. They didn't fuck it up. Yeah, I mean, even the scumbags in this season, Sheree, are done kind of well. Like they have one guy who's in there who's like a rapper. This isn't a spoiler alert. It's just one of the characters, and his name is Thanos. Like that's his rap name. I think it's going to be interesting to see different people get different redemption arcs, stuff like that. But it's I think it's also cool. The main character, what's his name? Hung Yu. One Hung Lo, I think his name is. I can't remember the dude's name. Zhang Yi or whatever. I he like the actor that's playing him is doing a fantastic job. Like he just has that portrayal of what the fuck. Like he's sympathetic, and the way he's carrying his face in this season, he's like mortified at just the different actions. But then realizing, I think it's really because he's reflecting on how he was in the first season when he was playing the game. Like, why the fuck am I going to quit? I need that money. But yeah, I do. I think it's one of the better shows. I still have to watch, and I haven't caught up with it. I got to watch. I think Cobra Kai put out their next to last, like the first half of their last season or something like that. I think that's what it was. I'm fucking this thing up. I don't know. Have any of you guys ever seen an old movie? It was called the Kentucky Fried Movie. It's an older movie, and they made fun of Bruce Lee's Enter the Dragon. and they had the whole thing with the island. It was called A Fistful of Yen. Like it's like a parody movie, basically. I don't know, Danny. I don't look. I would love to tell you that Trump being back in office changes everything, but if we're being quite honest here, it really doesn't. Already, they're starting to fight within themselves, and not constructively. Oh well, you're not like Elon Musk with the whole bullshit. Honestly, I think Steve Bannon is pushing that forward because he's kind of got sour grapes right now. Because Trump didn't put him in the administration for the second term, the whole 9 yards. But I really think it breaks down to this. The first go around was MAGA 1.0. Now you're looking at MAGA 2.0. And they're taking it in a different direction. They're improving on stuff. They've learned how to fight the system in a different way. But I think it's going to cause infighting as well. So we'll see. Right now, it's all about who becomes Speaker of the House, how much of Trump's agenda gets done almost immediately in the first couple years. If we're watching them just crank it out, crank it out, crank it out, crank it out, we're in good shape. If everything just stalls and becomes political and there's 3 Republicans that are, I ain't going along with this shit or whatever, we're just as fucked as if Biden's in there. I'm going to be honest with you. Certain stuff will change better by executive action, but other stuff's going to be just horrendous. I mean, you're not wrong, Danny. What other options do we have? Trump was the best option this go around. But we got to see if he actually can throw down and get it. If he can get everybody on the same page and pulling that fucking weight. Because everybody keeps saying the same thing. Oh, well, Trump's been handling a mandate. Trump's been handling a mandate. All right, well, then when the motherfucker speaks, you do exactly what he says. But that's not it. Well, no, we can't do all that. Like, no, that's way too difficult to understand. No, we've got to stand on principle and get our fucking TV time. What are you, nuts? Sometimes I think that we would just be better off with no president and no government and figuring it all out on our own. And then I'd just see stupid shit happen around me, and it's like, well, that wouldn't work either. So here's my problem with that, right, Danny? Last 4 years, the world's gone to shit. We got Trump has a lot of work to do. Why does that shit fall on us? That's my question. I'm not singling you out or trying to be a dick to you here. What I'm saying is, why does that fall on America? Well, you're the shining beacon on the hill. You're the one with the biggest GDP. Who gives a fuck? Why can't people resolve their own goddamn problems? Like that's part of the issue, I think, that is the biggest part of the issue is that we tried to be the world police and we're not. Why should we? What makes us morally more righteous than France or what you call it? I'm an American. I'm proud of America. I love America for what it is. But what makes us the shining beacon on the hill now? What, our educational system? It ain't that. Our military might? Okay, you could say that. Yeah, you could say we have the best military, all that shit. Well, we also lose like $2 trillion every fucking year to the military that nobody knows where the fuck that shit goes. If there's no government and no taxes, then you'll probably have some kind of anarchy and the strong will destroy the weak. That's probably what happens, Devin. That's why I said there's too much fuckery with different people. So I agree with you, Danny. I just I don't have faith in America to restore England. The only way you guys can restore Europe like that is for you guys to restore Europe like that. Is for your parliament, for your citizenry to say we are not putting up with this fucking bullshit anymore and we're taking a stand and this has to get fixed. And then for parliament to come around and say, yeah, we're fixing this shit. You guys are right. We agree with you 110%. We need this shit fixed. The Great Reset. Oh my fucking god, Devin. Yeah, you got me on that one. You got me. Fucking Great Reset. Yeah, it's really like, so the only thing that can really help Europe at this point is for the citizens and the leadership to say enough. Like, we understand that you guys wanted to bring in all these refugees because you wanted to be helpful. Unfortunately, they're not conforming. You guys got to be more like Poland, basically. Poland did this shit. Like, look, it sucks. We hate the fact that you people are suffering and everything else. Now get the fuck out. You've got to like take a stand, but the only thing is, you have to stand as one voice. You can't stand as a whole bunch of different individuals, like 50,000 different shattered voices. You've got to stand as one voice. And honestly, that's what Trump kind of embodies in America. Is Trump is the voice of the people that go to work every day and then pay off some asshole's lesbian underwater basket weaving studies degree at college, that are like, what the fuck? I'm not paying for that shit. I didn't even go to college myself because I couldn't afford that shit. What the fuck am I paying for your shit for? Everybody can kind of agree on that. We're getting, I can't live because my inflation's too high. People can agree on that. Trump's like, look, inflation needs to go away. Boom, we're with you. This paying off other people's shit. Boom, we're with you. Our government's too big and overreaching. Boom, we're with you. You need that voice. You need to find a leader that carries the voice of the angry people. And until you guys do, you're nothing, Trump can say, well, Europe, blah, 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 blah. Trump isn't elected over in Europe. He's not running shit over in Europe. He might be able to help you guys find a definitive voice, but yeah, it's really up to the citizenry to come together. You are 100% right, Danny. I'm going to tell you now, you're 100% right. I don't know if Christianity is the uniting factor. I try to take religion out of it, but a guiding principle that you guys set for yourselves that everybody can rally around. Like, for example, taking the Union Jack and putting the Union Jack anywhere where you see like any of these other flags hanging. Like, nope, I'm posting the fucking Union Jack right on top of that motherfucker. It's a symbol people can rally around. It's, you know what I mean? Hey, look, we're bending the knee to people that we brought in here by letting them do this and that with their culture. Well, we're not intolerant to your culture, but you guys are being intolerant to ours. You need to fucking straighten the fuck up and learn. Yeah, I like that's just it. It's all about when people. I'm going to tell you now. The one that got me, the one that gut punched me and made me angrier than anything else going on, as far as American shit was concerned, was when I watched a segment, and I want to say it was on like MSNBC or one of these fucking shit shows, right? It might have been MSNBC, where they were talking about the American flag being racist. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? People have died for that fucking flag. People fought and died for that flag. Around the world, that flag is recognized and respected. Like, how the fuck are you going to tell me that the flag itself is racist? You can go fuck yourself. Well, it represents, hundreds of years ago slavery. Right. It also represents people being freed from slavery. It counters that too. What are we talking about here? It should be a symbol of strength, freedom, and everything else. If you're not proud to be American, get the fuck out. How about that? We'll make that simple. Do we do fucked up shit? The people might. The government definitely does. Are we imperfect? Yep. But we should at least be proud of this fucking nation. Proud of what we stand for, and proud of the people that gave their lives to make sure that I just even have freedom to have a microphone in my face to say dumb shit. But yeah, in my opinion, I'm watching shit go down overseas, right? And it's not my place. Like, I'm not, well, I'm, a proud British person. No, it's nothing like this. But I do see what you guys see over there, and I'd be fucking pissed off too. I can't fault you. And, it's not even about evil or intolerance or any of this kind of nonsense. Racism or, oh, you're racist toward. No, fuck you, dude. It's not that. It's about people coming to an area, flooding into it, not adapting to what's already there, and learning from the ideals of, hey, this shit has worked for how many hundreds of years over here? Well, we came from a place where our shit's older. Yeah, your shit's also where you're escaping from, you dumb fuck. Dude, all history is fucking terrible, right? Like, there's some awful fucking shit that people have done to other people through our history. In all histories, not just American, not just British, not just here, there, or anything, Like, you can go to any history and look and find all the shit stuff. But how did you resolve it? How did you grow from it? You think in 2024, right? You would do the shit that you did in like 1940? You think that shit would work? Do you think like somebody like me, right? Look, check this out. Ready? Look at this. I'm so white and fucking pasty. I'm like see-through pale and pink. Okay. If I was standing next to Sheree, right, and somebody were to call her a racial slur in front of me, you know what color my hand would be? It'd fucking be blood red from their fucking teeth being pulled out of my knuckles. Right? Because I wouldn't tolerate it. That's where we are in this world. That's where America has grown. In the 1940s, 1930s or stuff like that, you would have been the one getting the shit beat out of you for sticking up for Sheree. But nowadays, like, no. Our history is our history. Now is a different fucking place. Now is a different time. We've grown. And people want to take us back to a place in our histories. Doesn't matter if it's America, Britain, France, whatever. They want to take you back to a different time. That time happened. It was fucking terrible. Nobody wants that time back. We've all evolved past it. Look forward, not backwards. Yeah, it's I don't even think it's just media. I think it's certain people, because if they can keep us divided. So that's one of those things. The more you can keep a people divided in chaos, the more you can control them. And they're not paying attention to shit. They're looking away from solutions to problems and instead creating new problems so that it distracts you from what's good. Right? I I don't know. The race one is the one that always gets me, right? When they do that. Religions, people are always going to fight over religions. Look at the Middle East. That shit's never going to resolve, right? Everybody's going to have an idea of what God should be, what God is. You're always going to fight about it. But when it comes down to like race, that shit's been solved a while ago. I don't understand that one. If you're still somebody walking around in 2024 who thinks somebody is lesser than you because of the color of their skin, you're fucked. Like, you are the outcast. You're the one with abnormal thinking. You're the fucked up one. There's nothing to learn from your mistakes, though, Danny, because to the American people, what's going on over there is abhorrent. Like, it's like, oh, look at look at the UK and what's going on. Look how terrible that is to us. But nobody really, is going to say, oh, well, we should import more people from the Middle East. We should, no. We're too busy with, hey, look, I don't want fucking guys competing against my daughter in a fucking swimming meet, Like, we're dealing with fucking like all kinds of different type of bullshit than that, because that problem's already been resolved because everybody here is just like, yeah, we don't want them here and they don't want to be here. You guys are just right next to the Middle East. And, that's just it. They just take a boat over to you. To get over to here, that's a much different trip. That's a much stiffer way across. Now, granted, Biden let everybody flow into the fucking country. Well, actually, Biden and Mayorkas. So we do have kind of that problem here, but the American people said, fuck that, get Donald Trump in there and get these motherfuckers out. And not like, hey, this is a woman where her kids are starving and all this, and like she's been terrorized and all this kind of awful shit happened to her on her journey to America and all this kind of bit. And yeah, she's really running from something. That's not the people we're saying, get the fuck out of here. We're saying, get the fuck out of here to the people that are coming here and like, oh, well, we're going to set a woman on fire on the fucking subway. Like, what the fuck is this guy doing in the country? Like, don't even just, well, he's not even just an international terrorist at that point. He's just scum of the earth. And what they really need to do, I know this one's going to be a super controversial opinion, but what they really need to do is start making an example of people in fucking public. Like, yo, this guy came into our country after being thrown back out, set a woman on fire in the subway. Okay, everybody, right here, we're live from Central Park, New York. Put them up there. 7 of you guys got rifles. Everybody's dialed in directly on his heart. One of you has an actual bullet. The rest will be firing blanks. On a count of 3. 1, 2, 3, blam. On national television. Right at like the 7 o'clock hour. And mandatory to watch. And that shit goes out over the world. You just create an example of, yeah, we're not going to America. We fuck around, we find out. And it sounds awful and all that. But when you see a horrific, and I mean, the unedited video is out there. But I would tell everybody to avoid it. I found it by accident. And I started to watch it and I thought it was the edited video. And I'm like, holy fucking shit. Holy fucking shit. And like, legit, my mouth was just hung open and I had a tear in my eye. Because I can't imagine that fate. I can't imagine that fate befalling anybody, let alone some woman who's tired from work and on a subway. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, and then you got shit like Biden with the fucking pardons. Like, oh, well, these guys are all going to skip death row. Like, oh, the fuck, which, you know, controversial opinion. What should happen is their victims should dictate what happens to them. Their victims' families should dictate what happens to those people. Like, if the president's like, I'm giving a pardon to so and so, you know, oh well, he murdered like 3 children or whatever, like executed 3 children in cold blood because he was having a bad day. Okay, well, the parents should be able to come in and be like, okay, well, I'm removing this part of your body. I am going to execute you myself. They should have the right to do that. If they want to forgive him and let him out, hey, that's on the parents. But I'm just saying, sometimes I think the victim should dictate what the punishment for the crime is. Like, I don't know. We live in this fucked up world. And I mean, video games are the same way. Like, I say this all the time about my fucking video games. Where when we were kids and you were in an arcade, you ran your fucking mouth while you're playing a fighting game. And you beat somebody at like, say you clobbered them at the fighting game, at the arcade cabinet. You turned around and you started talking shit to the person you just whooped the hell out of. A lot of times you're going to get the shit knocked right out of you. You do that shit now online, and that's just an acceptable thing. Like, I don't care what they put in play. You talk about people's mothers, you talk about like all kinds of shit. Okay, well, run your mouth next to me. Let's do let's rewind this and do this next to me. Tell me how bad I suck at life because you beat me at like Mortal Kombat or whatever. Run your mouth right next to me. Let's see how this works out. Well, same goddamn thing. Oh, these poor people on death row and everything else and blah, 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 blah. I have video evidence. I have DNA evidence. I have you confessing to the crime. You're definitely guilty. There is no, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that you are guilty. Well, now let's see what the victims say. Like, okay, this mother who had her daughter ripped away from her by this dude. Okay, do you have any mercy for this man? No. I want him drawn and quartered in the town square. Yeah, you're going to have a lot less people friggin' killing people's kids. Like, sometimes you have to eliminate evil from the world. It's not a pretty thing. It's not a good thing. There should be no evil in the world. In an ideal world, there's no evil. Everything's good. Everybody loves each other. Everybody fucking cares about each other. Everybody protects each other. We don't live in a fucking ideal world. We live in a hard, cruel world where shit doesn't always work out the way you want it to. Where bad people do bad things for their own gratification or whatever sick fucking reason they come up with. In those case scenarios, that evil needs to be dealt with like the evil that it is. And, you know, like I said, controversial take. I'll take it because, oh, well, the humanity and everything else. Well, you know what? Shouldn't have fucked around. Shouldn't have done something so fucking heinous. Well, you don't understand. He's normally a good person. He had 4 heads in a fucking duffel bag. What are you talking about, my guy? Like, come on now. Like, he did something objectively evil. Fucking take him out of this world. You don't belong in society. You don't belong on this planet. Like, I mean, look, if I could rule by fiat, if I was king for a day of the entire world, and I could do one fucking thing, I could pass one law. it would be if you touch a child in an inappropriate way as a grown-ass adult, you hurt a child like to a point where you take away their innocence and you break them like this and you do it for your own gratification, you are executed on the spot. That would be my one decree. Then you wouldn't have some of this crazy shit. That's the one thing that crime against humanity is the one that I can't deal with. That's the one that fucks me up the most, is people that hurt children like that. And I don't know if that just goes to my core because I am a girl dad. I've got my daughter-in-law. I've got 2 daughters. I've got a wife. I've got a mother. I have a sister. I have a niece. I have a grandmother. I have aunts. I can't. Like, part of me, maybe that's just me being an old school, an old ass man. Maybe it is. Maybe it's just wasn't the way my mom raised me. It was just the way we grew up as kids, where you just don't do certain shit to women and children and girls because you're looked down upon because you're preying on somebody who's way weaker than you. But that would be my rule by fiat. What's your guys' rule by fiat? What would you do? What would be the one thing if somebody made you king, queen, whatever for a day that you would decree? You can decree one thing. What would it be? The tube took your other comment. Yeah, the police are more worried about mean tweets over there, Danny. You're not wrong. Like to a point where they've told Americans, we'll send you over, we'll send them over to America and drag you over here for mean tweets. Like you can kiss my fucking rebellious ass. You show up and ask me to go. There's a reason why we're all like allowed to pack guns over here and defend ourselves and all that and have our constitution written the way it is because you guys want to impose law on me. You're fucked. I'll play by American law. Now, if I'm over there, I'll shut my fucking mouth, But in America, no, absolutely fucking not. Absolutely not. Well, you can send something over voice, Danny. I'll play it. I'll play it. The only thing is, I worry about you talking online. Like, you actually scare me a little bit because you are over there and they can just kind of come and grab you and then hold you down and rape you, Just put it right in your butt. Like, over here, we all got big mouths because we're allowed to have them. Over there right now, especially, they really want to nail you. They really don't like that dissenting voice shit. Not a big fan of this doo-doo color on her either. It's going to look much better once I start lightening it up. Fucking Devin's laughing. What, you got me on in the background just like listening to it like, wait, they're going to put something in Danny's pooper. Oh shit, I better tune in. Tune in next week when... So there's this English guy who came over here. His name was Danny something, and yeah, the British government showed up at his house, said, "Good day, mate." No, wait, that was Australian. They said, "Right, we come here, we're gonna put it directly in your pooper, mate. Right, we're gonna have a righteous buggering." We're going to make sure you cry big salty tears on your pillow. Oh, shit. Poor Danny. He's like, I didn't come to visit you guys for a while, and this is why. You guys talk about things going in my pooper. It's not very Christian. Right, you get a proper Rogering, mate. Not just that. I mean, British government, they probably do you with no lube, dude. Well, I mean, honestly, you're not wrong. They don't care about you, and they don't see, as long as you're not on their radar and you can stay below the radar, that's where the fuck you want to be. You know, it's the ones that, really want to go out and put a target on themselves. That's where you get fucked up. I'm going to stand here and be righteous. Okay, well, you're going to jail and being righteous there. How about that? You feel better now? How'd that help? Now you're in financial debts. Like, it's unfortunate. It's just the way it is right now. We're the right now. Hopefully that corrects soon. We'll see. Like I said, I mean, Nigel Farage, I don't know who that is. I think, wasn't he the, like, guy who hosted Top Chef or something like that? I can't remember. But yeah, who knows? Maybe that's your way forward. I thought it was, what was that one fat orange haired dude who was like, they were calling him the British Trump, who completely crapped out. I can't remember the dude's name. Boris Johnson, I think. I thought he was supposed to be like your version of Trump, and then that completely just shit the bed. Like he was doing something like, right, I didn't put hair gel in today, and they threw me out of Parliament. Something like this. Ah, you're good. Send over some audio. I'll fucking play them. I mean, can't be any more offensive than what I just said about the British government putting stuff in your pooper. Right, they jammed it right in me bum. Oh. Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it was something like Boris turned out to be total bullshit or whatever, but everybody's like, oh, he's going to be like Trump. I almost called him Boris Yeltsin. That's funny. Where the fuck? Boris Yeltsin. I know he's Russian. Wouldn't he like be right before Putin or some shit? I can't remember. I can't remember. History brain is not good. If you're sending over audio, should I like pack my pipe up and sit here and smoke my pipe on stream and contemplate what you say? I get a kick out of it. I'm telling you what, I really enjoy smoking my pipe. I've cut down on my cigarette smoking considerably because of the pipe. Because it's like a whole experience. Like you just sit here and kind of chill with it and think while you're chilling with your pipe and think about things. Think about things like Great Reset. No, Alex, no. You credit Boris Johnson with ending the lockdowns around the world? I credit common sense with people just saying, "Oh, fuck this." I'm telling you that, like, it's crazy to me because South Kakalaki down here, man, it was what, 7 days to slow the spread. Day 6, shit opened back up like nothing had happened. They were just like, "Yeah, make sure you wear a mask," and then you'd be like, "I forgot my mask in the car." They'd be like, "Oh, we don't give a fuck. Like, we just got to put that on the sign so we don't get shut down." Like, oh, okay. There's plenty of common sense in the world, but what trumps common sense, no pun intended with the Trump word, what beats common sense is fear of imprisonment and losing your actual livelihood and freedoms. That's what beats common sense right there. Because it may be common sense that, the the British standard, the British flag, the Union Jack, it's much greater than these other countries' flags. However, you fly it, they just might lock you up and put you in jail for the rest of your life. Oh, goodness. Wait, did you post anything there, Danny Boss? I see a lot more people tuning in since I started talking about stuff going in people's poopers. So I don't know if I like dog whistled there and everybody's like, "Oh shit, it's a butt sex episode or what?" But I was talking about the British government putting it in Danny's pooper, not like, an individual or some OnlyFans shit. All right, I'll check it right now. Yeah, and there's Sheree. Look at that's why Sheree's the best mod, like out of nowhere. Like, share, subscribe. All right, let's see. Disco. Where's Disco? There it is. Voice chats. All right, let's give this a shot and see if this shit works. Hopefully, it's not too loud. If it is, you guys yell. Yeah, this is the first story. My mate was telling me. Wait. You know what? That ain't gonna work. I gotta fuck around with something in the background real quick. I just realized. I just realized. Headphones, Realtek audio. Yes, that is not correct. I need that shit coming through here. And let's rewind. Let's give that another shot. Yeah, so this is the first story. My mate was telling me about the other day. So he was talking to some woman that he knows at the dog park, and she's got obviously a few kids, and a couple of her kids wanted to throw like a party or something like that. They're like 17, 18 years old. They wanted to throw a party, and they asked the parents if they could go maybe stay at the family member's house, obviously that night, so they could obviously have a party and have their friends over and stuff like that. And obviously the parents accepted. And anyway, cut a long story short, a couple of older guys come to the party, and there was obviously a confrontation. One of them pulled out a knife,
and stabbed some other guy in the face. And police were called, and police didn't even bother to turn up. The guy's pretty much like bleeding to death. He's like dying. And obviously it's like a big fight. And police were called and they were told, didn't even bother turning up. They basically had just to take that guy to the hospital in the end to get treated. And fortunately, he survived. But this is just what I mean. Like, police don't even turn up. They don't even bother. But yeah, if I was to, post a few things on social media, they'll find that offensive and they'll be knocking at my door. And this is just the state of this country when it comes to the police. As I told you guys before, you don't see police on the street, and it's pretty much up to you, really, to look after yourself on the street. That's why I carry what I carry, because in certain situations you're gonna want something on you to protect yourself, because no one is there to protect you. Something could happen to you, and then police turn up the week after wondering what happened. It's like, okay, that's great help, So yeah, that's just the first story.
Well, that's kind of depressing. Here I am thinking, oh, by the way, hello, Smurf. How are you? Good to see you. Bumblebee Tuna. Yeah, I mean, that, I don't know. So here's what's fucked up to me, right? The guy gets stabbed in the face and all this, and you guys ends up having to get driven to the hospital and everything. I live out far enough where it takes like an ambulance, police, whatever to show up like 20 minutes. So it's honestly faster for me to something bad happens to get in the car and just head to the hospital to begin with. Like, so that part I'm kind of sympathetic on, kind of not. But the police should at least turn up, take a report. And now, granted, if you guys were smart at all, what you would have done is when a dude got stabbed in the face, gone immediately on Twitter, on the tweeters, on the X, and just said a whole bunch of anti-Muslim stuff, they would have been there in 15 minutes. So instead of calling, whatever your equivalent of 911 is over there, just go on immediate social media and just talk a whole bunch of shit on Muslims, and the police will show up. And then you can be like, well, you need to get to the hospital. Now, granted, you're going to get arrested on the way to the hospital, but at least you'll get to the hospital faster. No, police are, that's just it. Trust me, you don't have a monopoly on police sitting on their asses. The unfortunate part is in America, the police want to actually do their job. Like, they don't agree with any of this fucking bullshit. The problem is the people up the chain of command don't want the optics of, let's say, racial justice or, or racism in general. They don't want the optics of, oh, well, we're over arresting, indigent people, or we're over, like we arrested more black people than we did white people this month. They don't want those stats. So they'll tell their cops basically like, look, stand down. Because otherwise we're going to give off the impression of us being racist when it's like, no, it's just who was committing the crime at the time. It's a bit different, but you actually do have cops who want to do their job, which is why with Trump coming back in office, you're seeing even people like Mayor Adams in New York who are getting a hold of Tom Homan and saying, look, yeah, let's talk about this. How do we get rid of illegal criminal networks in our city that have been brought in? How do we fix this? There's a reason why you're seeing that kind of shit over here, because they're realizing like, oh, well, the tide has turned. Like, we can actually do our fucking jobs again and not be treated like, treated like a pile of dog shit for doing her job. Like, it's craziness. But I mean, it's terrible. Problem is that you do need that common sense, kind of like Devin said, in this world. And people are more worried about being judged by the rest of society. You know, part of my problem is that's why I don't think my channel will grow all that much, even though, like, hey, let's make it grow. Because I have the wrong opinions for society nowadays, for the most part. You know, there's some people that hear what I'm saying and just take it for actual, oh yeah, well that makes fucking sense. And I'm sure I say some stupid shit here and there, but you know, for the most part, like, it doesn't fit into societal narratives in a lot of cases. It doesn't. Because you should have sympathy for, you know, the guy that broke into this person's house, got shot, and is now paralyzed. Well, no, I have no sympathy for that asshole because he broke into someone's house. Somebody who worked hard and bought their house, you broke into it, you got shot, which means you're dumb enough to get your fucking ass caught on top of it. So I have, even from a criminal perspective, I have no sympathy for you. They should shoot you again. Right, we carry billy clubs to smack you the fuck around, just in case your little smurf ass gets out of line. Right. Well, that's just it. Sometimes you need Batman in this world too. Like that's part of the problem. Is that eventually if you tie the cops' hands enough, especially in America, you have enough assholes like me who grew up with comic books that think they can become like Batman or the Punisher. And they're going to start doing stuff that may or may not be justified. Some cases it may be justified, other cases it's not going to be. So I always forget Smurf went over to London once. They threw him out. They were like, no blue men allowed. See, like, that's the other thing. America does have kind of a gun problem, but at the same point in time, I think it's better that we have that gun problem and don't need them than to need them and not have them. You know what I mean? Like, God, this chick is definitely ugly looking. God damn. I'm telling you guys, I can't wait till I start going to the big builds. That's coming soon. I don't know. That's one I got to show you. Because I'm sure you guys didn't get here till way later in most cases. And I had shown this when I first started the stream. And of course, you know, like an asshole, nobody's watching the beginning of the stream. Some people go back and watch it, but not necessarily. You know, and of course, I'm talking about butt stuff. Smurf had to show up. Well, just because, right, but was the spider radioactive? That is the real question in that Smurf, because if it wasn't, then, well, there you go. That's why you didn't become Spider Man. Remember, it's a radioactive spider, not just a damn spider. So it's got to be a special set of circumstances. It's also got to be at a science fair in Manhattan. And if it's not that and a radioactive spider, you won't get the Spider Man powers. Well, yeah, but anybody, the shit part is anybody can be the Punisher. Not saying you're going to live long, but anybody can be the Punisher. That's the terrifying part. That's why they wanted to kind of do away with that character as soon as possible. Because even though like he was a Vietnam War vet and all that, it was still just a representation that the Punisher is the embodiment of people who've had a fuck enough and are smart, clever, and can use weapons. It's definitely possible. So I was showing this. One of the first ones that I did when I got my 3D printer was this Iron Man, right? Very, very cool. Very detailed, just for scale. You see him up against my hand. So what I've kind of decided to do is going forward, like I did the Venom, that's all broken apart and still got to get primed, painted, and everything else. But I have this little Iron Man, and yeah, I decided to up the scale to just give you an idea of the scale. Like he doesn't even completely fit in my hand. How big he is. I broke him into pieces. Make sure I got this right. So he's got to get primed. We'll put them all together, what have you. Let's see, get the other leg in there. Get the superhero landing pose going. And I do have to, just to give you an idea, size, scale, and everything else. So this was the original. I think this goes back like this. This one's got to get shaved down. I got to Dremel this and use the X-Acto on it. But yeah, he's a big boy. Like I said, he's put my hand behind him. You can kind of see. Versus this one, it fits in the palm of my damn hand. If I can actually get that. Yeah, you're fine. Go ahead. Send it over, Danny. Um, but yeah, so once this gets dremeled down, I already did like the one arm. I dremeled it down and everything else. But yeah, I'm gonna start going big. I think with some of my prints, like do some decent size sculptures. A lot of pieces now. The web shitter. That's fucking epic. Yeah. Spider Man was bitten by a spider. Did Black Panther have to have sex with a Black Panther in order to become the Black Panther? What are we doing here? Sexually transmitted superpowers. Boom. All right. Yeah, just waiting. You're good on sending that last audio too. Let me know when it's through. I still got to do this freak's eye, which I'm thinking of going like nasty looking yellow in it. In the meantime, let me see if I can do this without fucking it up. A little bit of white. Use the white as an undercoat, I guess. Hopefully, I don't do what I did with the Yeti. The Yeti, my greatest failure. Ever since the Yeti, I'm always like very cautious when I lay this fucking paint in. Alright, and I'm only going to hit where I want it to highlight with the white. I'm going to switch over to a filthy gray. Matter of fact, I am transitioning over to a little bit of water here. Thin this out more. Before I even get into the gray. That shit was already starting to bulk up, so to speak. Give me a steel gray will work. Let me see, what audio did Danny send over? That was 20 minutes ago. Danny must be refining that audio. He's like re-recording it like I didn't sound British enough. Yes, smoky wood color. Oh. It ain't easy being green. I don't know why they made her the Hulk color, though, even in her mythology. It's crazy. Smurf, Smurf, look, I'm doing it without fucking it up. Right, just sent one. All right, let's see what's Danny Bull sent.
Yeah, so this happened about 3 weeks ago. It was a dog attack in my area. Remember I spoke to you guys before about we had a few problems with certain dogs around here in this area and the owners. And this guy has 2 Dobermans, and these dogs are extremely aggressive. I mean, like, every time you see them in the area walking around with them, like, they're muzzled up and they're constantly pulling on the lead. I mean, they are looking left, right, up, down. I mean, they're constantly on alert. And every time they see another dog, they just bark. They bark like crazy. I mean, they just go completely like rabid. And again, he just shouts at them. He pulls them. You know, he tells them to shut up. He kicks them. It's like it's really sad to see. because, dogs are not meant to be like that. Dogs are meant to be, like Dobermans are meant to be your, they're like security dogs. They're meant to be extremely calm. And if they're well trained, they could be absolutely amazing security dogs. And but obviously he doesn't train them, he doesn't socialize them, and anyway, instead of me rambling on, cut long story short, somehow one of the dogs got off the lead and attacked a woman and her small dog walking by. So the dog managed to sort of, like, the guy must have, like, I don't know, the dog must have pulled and he must have just let go of the lead. And somehow the Doberman dog got out of the muzzle. It knocked the woman over and basically just started tearing the dog apart. And he's run over and he's told the woman, oh, and by the way, I know this because some other woman in the area who has a dog, when I walk my dog, she basically informed me of it because she lives in the same block as the woman. So she was just telling me, did I know about the dog attack? So this is her telling me all this. So the Doberman has hit the woman, knocked her over, attacked the dog, and the guy has run over to the woman and said, you need to run, like, just run away. Because he's trying to get his dog off of the other dog.
Worst
so
advice
she's run
ever.
into the block, into the block she lives in, petrified. And then the Doberman starts running after her with her dog in its mouth. And so anyway, eventually the guy takes the dog away. The people on the block called the police. I think the police eventually turned up. I'm not too sure if they turned up that day, but they turned up another time to obviously find out what happened. The dog did survive, but I think he had to get surgery and stuff like that. But the guy apparently has been threatening people on the block, telling them, why did you call the police? Don't call the police and all this stuff. And it's absolutely left me, like, furious with this bloke. Like, and this is why I tell you guys, this is why I tell my friends, tell my family that I carry whatever I want. I carry what I carry. I'm not going to tell you what I carry, obviously, but I carry a certain thing that when situations like that happen to me, I'm not just going to watch my dog get ripped apart in front of me and not know what I can do. Not protect him, not save his life. If that situation happened to me, then that dog's going to have to get put down on that spot. And then potentially that guy is going to have to get put down on the spot as well. And and police are going to have to do what they're going to have to do. If I go to court, go to prison, and so be it, I'm not letting my dog be killed right in front of me and not doing anything about it. It's just not happening. And the thing is, again, that could have been my mum, that could have been my sister, that could have been my girlfriend, that could have been the friends. That if that was the case, like I'd be hunting this guy down, wanting to do him serious harm. And this is what people like this guy don't understand. Like, eventually, you're going to run into the wrong person, and you're just going to get put down. Your dog's going to get put down on the spot because he's clearly a bully, and sooner or later, life's going to catch up on him. Karma's going to catch up on him, and he's going to get dealt with. And this is a sad reality that we live in this world. I tell everyone, man, arm up. Carry whatever you want on you. There is no police nowadays. Police don't care about you. The government don't care about you. You need to protect yourself and protect your loved ones or your dog or whoever. That when situations arise, you need to just do what you can to protect yourself. End of. Done.
Okay, so I will interject this because we are here in America. Make sure if you're going to carry something on you that you have a legal license for it, and I'm going to state that out the gate. Even though I understand Danny's sentiment, he's not wrong. I can tell you now, if that had been my dog and that guy would have, like, his dog got off the leash and all that stuff, there wouldn't have been enough of that guy to sponge up off the ground. I will say that. I agree wholeheartedly with Danny there. I will also say that if it was my dog does not wear a muzzle. He will not attack people. I've noticed this. He's actually very friendly towards people. That being said, other dogs, there's a reason why no matter what, I don't just let him run free, because my dog will attack another dog on sight. Like, I don't know if it's a domination thing, what the deal is, and he has wolf fangs. Like, he's got We're talking like his front teeth are probably bigger than this fucking figure, right? Loving this dog ever. I'm careful with him, but yeah, if that had been my dog, I would have let him like, and it jumped on my dog. I probably would have been like, all right, well, looks like I'm kicking a field goal first, and then I'm beating your fucking ass, dude. And I would have just turned my dog loose, punk kicked his dog, and then fucking whooped his fucking his Rudy Poo candy monkey ass right into the earth. I don't blame you there, dude. Yeah. Yeah, like it's awful shit. I don't know how you don't control your dog. Something like a Doberman, like if my dog was a Doberman, I'll tell you now, he would have been in school. Like I would have paid for him to have training immediately because Dobermans are very intelligent. Same thing for a German Shepherd. You need to have them trained. Some people can get away with, hey, I trained them on my own and everything else. Pit bulls, you can train on your own. But Dobermans and German Shepherds in particular, it always seems to me that if you take them to like obedience school and stuff like that and actually have them trained, those dogs, that training actually sticks with them and they're pretty disciplined. But yeah, yeah, like something like that should not happen. That's some bullshit. Some poor lady shouldn't be, like if that had been you're not wrong, Danny. If that had been like my wife out there, man, I'd have been dragging that motherfucker around by his throat. Like, I'd have been like, well, I'm putting a leash on you now. Like, oh yeah. I'd have brought him over to Smurf's place, been like, here you go, Smurf. Put him in the dungeon. Call the Gimp. Call the Gimp, Smurf. Tie this motherfucker up. Yeah, and you're not wrong either. Like, so that poor the dog, the lady's dog that got attacked, he's never going to be the same either. Because even with surgery, he's going to be fucked up. She's going to be afraid anytime she gets near a dog that a dog's going to try and take her out or take her animal out. Like you've created victims, and there shouldn't be. It should never go that route. Yeah, Smurf, get the Gimp. Get the Gimp. Pull out go get the Gimp. We got us one. We got Marcellus Wallace out in the yard. Let's go get the Gimp. But yeah, and that's the shittiest thing. Like you got people like I don't know. My dog's my part of my family, so I treat it as such. But I also see how people will leave their dogs out here in like the freezing cold. They treat them like shit. Like I know I've said this before, and it probably bores the shit out of people when I say it now, but my dog started out as a bait dog. That's where we got him from. People were using him as a bait dog when he was a puppy, and he still has nightmares about it. And I was only able to overcome that because we love him so much and we treat him a certain way, like with nothing but love. Like I don't even beat the dog. Like when you're saying that guy kicks his Dobermans and shit, that'll do it right there. You're just creating an angry animal. Dude, I'm not gonna lie. If he lives on the block, I'd get together with a bunch of the neighbors and I'd be like, hey, can we talk to you for a minute? And then just like throw a blanket over his head, take bars of soap, load him into socks, and beat the shit out of him with it and leave him on the street. Leave him in a puddle of his own piss and blood. The taser. Dude, did you really say a laser? I was, don't laze me, bro. Dude, that's exactly it right there. Don't laze me, bro. Like, holy shit. I didn't say the sharks with laser beams, with frickin' lasers. I would like a taser. Tase his testicles. My mother was a web-footed whore named Chloe with 9 toes. She used to shorn my scrotum every day. I can tell you, there's something breathtaking about a shorn scrotum, I assure you. Dude, that's just it. Like, me and my neighbors here, like, I think I told you the story about the panhandler, and I went to my one neighbor. I said, yo, I told this guy, he ever comes in my yard again, I'm going to fucking shoot him. I said, what do you think? He goes, next time he comes in your yard, fucking shoot him. I got lime. I got a shovel. I'll help you. I was like, damn, all right. Now we're fucking talking. Now we're fucking talking. Because that's just it. Sometimes, like I said this before, Danny, in the beginning, it's really going to be about good people coming together to overcome in your community. And you're going to have to vote it in. And then in some cases, where it's applicable, you're going to have to assist. But it's going to take a group, and not just one or two, but a whole neighborhood with a singular voice saying, yeah, enough of this fucking bullshit. Like, enough. We've had enough. Like, we're not putting up with it anymore. Had enough, and I'm not fucking taking it anymore. Just losing your shit. And, that's it's starting to happen over there. But they crack right down on you, and it's all about replacing people in your government and doing it. There's got to figure out a legal recourse or a democratic recourse. Yeah, and Sheree's right. You know, like over here we have this thing, like especially poor white people have this thing where it's you fuck with one of us, you fuck with the whole trailer park. Like you guys got to adopt that mentality a little bit. Dude, I just wonder how blind, you said Smurfs unite. You're not wrong. Oh, he smurfed him right in his smurf hole, right? I just wonder about this one, Smurf, and maybe you can answer this question. How blind was Gargamel? Because according to the song, the Smurfs are what, 3 apples high, I think they say, which means that the mushrooms that they live in have got to come up to like my waist. They got to be like 3 foot tall or some shit for them to live in them. How hard is it to find a fucking huge patch of mushrooms that fucking big? Wait, see, like Danny put something in that chat and it did not pop through. There doesn't seem to be communities anymore. This liberal culture is poisoned, and you have these third world cultures sticking together and looking out for themselves. Well, you're not wrong. So it's not even just about liberal culture, right? Far left culture, yeah. Liberal culture is more live and let live. But how do you counter it? What's the counter to it? You know, I think Devin said this earlier. It's common sense culture. Look, common sense is dictating this. Don't approach things from a political lens as much as a lens of, hey, like, is this actually what's best for our community? Is this actually what's best for us? as a people. Like I said, simple little things, simple little shit, like just hanging Union Jacks everywhere. Like I mean, just going fucking batshit with it. Yeah, see, like that's one of those things, though. That's where language is important because you can say like, oh well, liberals or whatever, and when people think of liberals, they think of what was that dude with the rotten hand? Bob Dole. You think of that. That's a liberal. And it's like, no, that's not what we mean. We mean not even like AOC, who's like progressive. We mean like the crazy fucking lunatic that's like, cut your kid's genitals off. Hurry up. Yeah, seeing thing to do. Like that kind of fucking person. Well, I know he killed and ate like 3 children, but we shouldn't take that man's life. We should pity him. Like, shut the fuck up. What? Like, no. Well, you don't understand. Taking human life's wrong. Well, he just took 4 of them and he ate them. What are we talking about here, people? Maybe that's just me being wacky, but I don't know. This fucking face. Oof. Face is gonna be rough. I can't get hidden behind the hair. I'm gonna have to completely go in here with black and fix all this fucking blowout, but as long as I got the undercurrent, I'm alright. Dog, you're being fucking crazy again. I think I got the fur without fucking it up that time. I definitely learned from the Yeti. Sheree's like rare sense. Yeah, yeah. I don't, honestly, I think common sense is still there. I think people are just too scared to go against things. They're just afraid of being ostracized or canceled or not invited to the latest Tupperware party or whatever. I think people are afraid of being canceled. And I think the counter to that is, well, then if you're afraid of being canceled, how about we create new things where you can be invited to instead? You create a counterculture. Oh, my spider sense is always tingling. I'll tell you now, Danny, any man that has daughters automatically gains spider sense. You can ask Smurf about this one too. He'll tell you. You automatically gain spider sense. And even better is mothers like Sheree. Sheree can tell her kids are fucking up 4 states away. It's like doot 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 doot. You fucking up, and like just goes off. That instinct comes with being a parent in most cases. Correction. That instinct comes with being a good parent. But yeah, I always watch, like it's fucked up saying stuff like that because I think back to like old school God damn. I think back to old school Married with Children, and Al Bundy would always bounce like Kelly's boyfriend's head off a door or something like that. And back when I was a kid, I would be like, I don't know if I can get it. And then as a parent and like I said, a girl dad, yeah, you completely get that shit. You're like, oh yeah. Like Al Bundy all of a sudden became a fucking hero at that moment. Oh, hitting this little fucking piece of rope in there is going to be a bitch. Come on. Immediately go in with the darker brown and fix that shit. Dude, great daughters do come with great responsibilities. That is not wrong. It's, I mean, look, let's just call it like it is. How many strippers have you ever dealt with in your life, Smurf, where they're like, yeah, I had the greatest dad in the world? You never hear a stripper say that. Never. It's always, my dad didn't like me. Like, well, I see why. What are you doing with those ping pong balls again? Like, oh shit. Have a good night, Danny. Yeah, it's always nice hearing from you, man. Glad you dropped in. Definitely gave us some insight into the craziness that you're dealing with over in that place beyond the pond. Normally, we have to get our fucking British news from guys like Piers Morgan. But, you know, when you drop in, it's always nice. Oh. Wait till I finish out with her. I gotta paint her up. She's gonna be a fisheye fool. How come they don't make good comedies like Sanford and Son anymore? Or the Jeffersons? Good Times. Like, we don't have good comedies like that. Hell, I'll even take Martin Lawrence at this point. Oh. I gotta get into the highlighting on her fucking back, but yeah, funny may not be allowed, but you notice I still like, granted, you know, I've gained a little traction here and there with this channel, but I've been able to say pretty much whatever's on my mind. And maybe it's because, you know, I have a small following that I'm allowed to get away with this stuff, but I'm still able to get away with it. Like I was talking about butt sex earlier. Well, not really talking about it, but joking about butt sex and stuff like this earlier. Like I think you can get away with it. It's just I don't know. Once you get mainstream, is that when you get fucked up? Is that what knocks the air out of your sails, or is that when people get all ooh? Maybe it's because I got nothing riding on it. Like like my lights are going to be on regardless if 5 people watch this or 500, or 5 million or whatever. But maybe once everything's riding on it, maybe that's when shit switches and you gotta go a different route. Because I think like even ABL could cuss and everything else on his channel. He just chooses not to, and he's mainstream. Like, well, not mainstream like this is CNN. None of that crap. But I mean, mainstream like people, a lot more people watch him than me. Guest House Paradiso. All right, I'll definitely have to check that out. Yeah, I mean, like I don't know, the whole cancel thing. I think is starting to go away a little bit. Like I think it's either toning down or people like me who don't give a shit are just saying whatever's on their mind anyway. So I don't know. This is a little much in here. Tone that down a bit. But I think cancel culture is starting to fade. I think honestly, if you outrage somebody, you actually end up making more money nowadays. Then everybody wants to see what's so outrageous about it. Which, I mean, can be a good thing. We'll see. Only time will tell. I'm just more fucked up that it's 2025 and I'm going to be 50 years old this year. I'm going to be like, I'm basically already being called geriatric by certain friends. It's really going to get bad. But I'm all right with it. I'm old for a reason. I was able to deal with bullshit like you can take all the safety labels off stuff, and I'm not going to drink the poison. So well, I mean, yeah, it's a good thing, Sheree. Shit, certain stuff needs to be canceled just because it's awful, but I don't think it should be like if somebody says something that's fucked up, like all right, here you go. Let's go with it for example. Somebody's like, I'm all for transgender surgery. Okay. That's your opinion. You're allowed to have it. That's great and everything else. Shouldn't shouldn't be canceled for having that opinion. If somebody's like, "Hey, transgender surgery is not good," and all that other stuff, okay, cool. You should be able to have that opinion too and not be canceled either. It should just be in balance and let people decide what they actually believe. You don't need to silence voices to, overpower them. You should be able to overpower them with a good argument. It's just one of those things. I mean, you should be able to have a conversation with somebody and be able to disagree and still be cool. I'm like that with quite a few of my friends. Actually, one of my better friends, he's pretty fucking like I wouldn't even call him a little left. I mean, he's fucking hardcore left. However, and I don't agree with like 95% of the shit that comes out of his mouth when it comes to that stuff. Same thing on his end. We still can play a game together and have a great time because we just simply don't talk about it. So it's a matter of finding something else to talk about if you don't agree on something. It's not something to get in a fight and call each other names and all that kind of shit. It's just learning to live with each other and be cool on the things that you do enjoy or do see things eye to eye. Hopefully this works out the way I want it to. Otherwise, it's going to look like shit. Let's see. Definitely want that a little bit more muted back there. There we go. Now you can actually kind of see the fucking rope. And I'll hit that with the lightest of the grays. And hopefully complete her belt and make it look sexy. I still got to get into her eyes and then clean up her hair a bit. There we go. Looks like Manus, I swear, from Guardians of the Galaxy in the face for some reason. Tone down this white's a little overpowering here. Tone it down. Right. Get that face done. Cool. It's already 11:25. A few little touch-ups, and I might have her actually done. For sure. We need black. I just got to figure out. I'm debating on what color I want to do those eyes. I definitely want to give them a reflective quality. I'm just debating because I'm thinking about going shiny and then yellow in it. Because honestly, the figure that I printed is actually a little bit prettier, not really, but a little prettier than that creepy ass shit on the side of the screen right now. Try to pull that fucking black down without fucking undoing what I've done. And of course, I did do exactly what I didn't want to do. Gotta really lean in there and look at this thing to get that. I'm gonna have to go in there with green again. Motherfucker. Motherfucker, motherfucker. You motherfucker. Oh, dear Lord. Oh, I gotta paint her damn fingernails too. God, her nails have to be green or black. Because that's apparently a thing. Kind of looks alien in the face. Very weird. Very, very weird. What the hell am I going to do with those eyeballs? Better yet, let me fix this. So I did blow this out. Yeah, I mean, hair does fall like that, but gotta get fixed. That damn little curl of the hair is gonna be a pain in my ass. All right, I need to give her some fucked up eyes. Why don't we give her some shine back green? Yeah, I got an idea here. Hopefully I pull it off. Yeah, I think I kind of like the eyes. Don't really want to overwork them. Yeah, I think that gives it kind of a freakier vibe. All right, let's see if I can't fix this damn little tiny piece of hair. What is my... I think I can get the most control out of this brush. So we're going to go with this brush. We'll dip it in our black. Give her a little spin. Get it? I did get it. All right, I actually got that little tiny hair. All right, let's see. Fix this little bit of brown right here. Right where I blew out. What the fuck? Down and around that hand. All right, we are not looking bad. Not bad at all. Everybody got quiet in the chat. You can tell we're getting close to closing time. All right, now for little tiny fingertips. This is always the fun part. I might actually get in on this hand a little more, a different angle with this small brush. As you guys could hear in the background, my dog just went batshit for a minute there and decided to run around. Just trying to get these damn tiny, tiny nails that she has knocked out. I'll have to glue her into the base after she's done. I'll do that shit off camera. No big deal. Got her nasty little nails painted. Oh, good Lord. All right. I clean up on, yeah, I gotta clean up on these lower green. I just saw this big ass spot on the leg. Double check those legs. I was afraid of. There's this one spot on her back knee that's kind of hidden. Yeah, it's got her. We got her. She's good to go. Actually, I might do this. I'm not real happy with this little blowout here. Blend that in a little bit more. Stand them both up. All right. You guys can stop rolling free, damn it. Fucking paintbrushes. See. Where's my fancy mouse? Actually, it's nothing fancy about this damn mouse. Let's see. Actually, I'd do this with them too. This actually makes more sense. You know, that's just it. It's a good call, Devin. I would like to see it with a baby. I think that would have been much cooler. But yeah, it didn't come with one, unfortunately. And yeah, Sheree, thank you very much. I think they came out all right. Just seeing if I can't get this. See what we got. See if I can't get them to focus in. There we go. I think that's a little tighter on my focus. There we go. Cool. Thanks, Deb. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's creepy as fuck looking though. I mean, like I said, you don't eat all your vegetables, the boogeyman's gonna come get you. Imagine like you're a little Eskimo kid being told that this fucking thing is gonna go take you away if you don't stay away from the water's edge. little Inuit children being carried off. Oh. Yeah, so I was saying I think I am going to start going to the bigger models or what have you when I'm done with the little guys. I may even do one in between. I'm also going to try and get the streams where I'm done by midnight in most cases. 11:30 midnight is really what my goal is going to be from now on. I figure, sometimes it's nice staying up on a late night tip, but a lot of people are like, yeah, fuck this. I got to go to work. I got this going on. I got that going on. So even just like 2, 3 hour stream is fucking more than enough. I would think. It's just going to be interesting to see what news and other shit comes up. I'm still waiting for disclosure. Like fucking, I don't know if you guys have ever seen this dude when it comes to UFOs, but there's a guy named Dr. Stephen Greer, and he's an actual surgeon and shit. But this guy has been saying that the government is going to reveal the truth about UFOs and aliens and all this shit for, I'm going to say, about 15 to 20 years now. And every year it comes down to like January, and it's like, well, yeah, this person's coming out and they're going to announce, and this person's going to announce, and they're all high level in the government and all this kind of shit. And then when that time frame passes, he immediately defaults to, yeah, they got cold feet, they chickened out, and all this other stuff. I think like the CIA or the FBI or whatever just feeds him bullshit and tells him stuff just so they can have a laugh at him. Devin, you only want the videos shorter because you like short things. Like, if I was a midget and painting this stuff, oh, I'm sorry, a little person and painting this stuff, then you'd be like ecstatic. Let's see. Justin, can I get in there a little bit tighter? I can. There we go. Oh, dear God. Yeah, I'm thinking shorter, faster videos. I don't know, maybe talk more, just let my mouth run a little bit quicker, faster, cover topics you guys actually want to talk about. Like if more people had seen Squid Games too, then I think Sheree and I probably would have gone ham on that tonight. We just have to talk in like vague descriptions of things till everybody sees it. Wait, hold on. Let's squeal the brakes on that. Your husband had a thing about midgets. Are we talking about like, like the hub, like that kind of stuff watching midgets, or are we talking about just like, Hornswoggle having the miniature table ladder and chairs match in WWE, or like, we represent the Lollipop Guild, that kind of shit. Well, that's fine. Your ex-husband. I said ex-husband. I didn't say not Dwayne. The other person. God damn, made me squeal the brakes hard talking about like midget hub stuff. I mean, hey, I guess they gotta have fun too. Yeah, I hope you guys are feeling better too. I know you guys traveled and got sick and all that. I do hope you're coming out of that all right. Sheree's not wrong there. Oh, see, like here, I thought you were gonna have like an interesting joke, like why, why do midgets wearing shorts running across a grassy field giggle? You would too if the grass was tickling your nuts. You know, thought it was something like that. I don't even think I said that punchline correctly. It's been a while since I've said that joke. Why do midgets wearing shorts giggle when they run across open fields? You would too if the grass was tickling your nuts. I think that's how it goes. Yeah, that's all we can all do is just go day by day. I mean, look, the future's looking better now than it was. There's actually a little bit of hope. My big concern is that the hope doesn't pay off as big as everybody is thinking it's going to. I'm just hoping if you aim for the stars, then maybe you hit the sky. And that ain't too bad. Oh man. All right, guys. I think we're gonna wrap it up. Thank you again for liking, sharing, subscribing, dropping in for 5 minutes, dropping in for 5 hours, and just saying, "Hey, Gam, what's up? Let's have a conversation." I appreciate everybody. Everybody, make sure you give a shout out to Sheree, not just here, but over at ABL's channel. Always shout her out. Tell her she's the best mod on these internets because she is. No, the greatest reward for having hope isn't hope itself. The greatest reward for hope is having popcorn while you watch that hope play out. But thank you guys again. I do appreciate you. I love talking to y'all. Um, I'm grateful for every last one of you. And thank you again, Sheree. I do appreciate the hell out of you. I know it's a thankless job being a mod, so I'm going to try and say thank you every time I can. Everybody hang in there. Let's see what next week brings. But until then, I'm Gam. I appreciate the hell out of you guys, and thank you again. And until next time, don't take shit from anyone. Good night, everybody.